really needed me to drive here to do this?
To me, it sounds like just another excuse for them to make your life inconvenient.
Exactly. But that's the whole purpose. There is no need for them. And I'm sure they don't want to be inconvenienced by me needing to drive there. They don't want to do more work while I'm in person. There's no need for this.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, how many things that happen in our world are not necessary, but we are stuck doing them?
Right, but this is something like the one in Egg Harbor Township has just said, we're not even going to help you. You can't even come here.
I mean, that's just poor.
Seriously, does anybody out there, I'm asking a serious question, does anybody have any idea why the EHT DMV does not do vehicle registration renewals? What purpose are they serving if they don't do that? What do you give? Okay, they give a 17-year-old kid his driver's license. That is now a higher priority than renewing license renewal. I was like, I said, there's no way this could be accurate. People are like, no, they do not do it anymore. Does anybody know? Does anybody know why they do not do it? Like, the funny part is there was a guy in the DMV today with me, and he said, yeah, I had to take a drive down here because this is the closest place to me. He said he drove over an hour. He had to drive over an hour to go to the damn DMV because the one in Atlantic County doesn't do it. I mean, I get it. Like Atlantic and Cape May County have about 330,000 people, of which 230,000 of them live in Atlantic County. You're making the whole county drive to North Cape May to renew their license?
It's another example of inefficiency by the government.
Oh, my God. Like, somebody listening has to know someone that works at the EHT DMV and has to know why they decided. They sat in a room. This topic had to come up. And that somebody in the room had to say, okay, the next order of business on this agenda is registration renewals. Do we want to do that at this facility? Nah. All right, we're gonna eliminate that portion. I mean, well, how did that even come up in a top? Like, this is second nature. You go to the DMV to renew your registration and license. How do you say you're not doing it here?
Now, for those of you who are texting in to the text board,
I can't see the text board because the fact I had to drive 45 minutes today to get my registration renewed, and I forgot the cord to my laptop, so I have no laptop. So I'm driving solo out here. I got nobody with me.
Well, here's the deal. So a couple people are saying you could just renew your registration online, but you just explained a few minutes ago.
I can renew my registration online, but because I procrastinated past the 6-month threshold. Right. After 6 months, you can no longer do it online, which I don't understand. What happens after 6 months that their system cannot register me on? They could do it within the 6 months, but after 6 months, their computer, what is it like the millennium, like the year 2000, the freaking thing crashes because I'm after the 6-month threshold?
Now, here's an interesting text here, Mike. Jim in EHT says, if you would have gone to Manahawkin, it's a 60-minute wait.
Well, that's why. See, my girlfriend had told me that she went to Rio Grande and she was in and out. And then I said, well, Manahawkin's actually closer.
Right.
But she said it'll probably be more busy.
Right. So Jim and EHT. So basically, Jim and EHT is verifying that.
You know what would have been better? If the one that was in EHT 5 minutes from my house did what they're supposed to do and renewed registrations.
Right.
I wouldn't have to go to Manahawkin or North Cape May. So what else is there? So you got the guy telling me, man, I got that part. That's why I didn't go to Manahawkin. I figured it would be the guy, the one in North Cape May, which apparently used to be an Acme.
Yes. So where you were at was one of the oldest Acme's in South Jersey that's no longer there.
Yeah, like I said to you today. Yeah, the place I went to for the DMV, it looked like a grocery store. You're like, was there an Acme there? I go, no. It was the grocery store. The DMV was the grocery store.
I'm gonna have to drive to North Cape May at some point soon, just to drive around to see how part of my youth has been destroyed.
The guy next to me in the line, or he was like, I guess his son was getting his picture taken for his license. He must be getting his first license. So he's like, I drove like an hour to get here. It's a really nice area. I've never really been down here before. How did you get here? And the guy working for the DMV says, I'm in the witness protection program.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, that's a great answer there, buddy. He's like, yeah, this is a nice little drive. It took us like an hour. I think he said like an hour and 10 minutes to get there. I said, why would you? I mean, seriously, even if you put the DMV in Cape May County, why would it be in the furthest point of the whole county? Why didn't you put it in the middle? Well, why is it not in Middle Township?
Well, we have another texter who says there's no excuse for this, but he claims the reason is it's the flow of people coming in and out. And certain counties have higher volume at their DMVs than others.
Well, I get there's a higher volume of people in the Atlantic County one. There's more people that live here. Of course, There's going to be a higher volume. The problem with, like, the one in North Cape May, here's the problem. Nobody lives in North Cape May, and they have a freaking former grocery store. That's their place. The one in Atlantic County might as well be a place for a table for two. The place isn't big enough. So they decided we have too small of a place, so we've now outsourced you to North Cape May to go get your car registration redone. My God.
Either way, it's a horrible reason.
It is a horrible reason, and I'm glad that people are texting right now. And what you need to do is redirect these texts to the DMV and ask them, why aren't you open to let us renew our vehicle registrations? All right, 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. That's how my day started.
Yeah, the gist of this is you're having a wonderful day.
Well, and it's funny because it's beautiful outside. I sat in my car, and in my car, it tells me it's 79 degrees outside. And I'm like, this is a beautiful day. I took a nice drive. I mean, it was like, taking the drive down to Cape May, it's nice. I mean, it's like a nice drive. You got the windows down. And here's another thing you'll laugh at. This is so me, too. So the guy hands me the paperwork, and he says, hey, I just need you to fill this out. And, of course, his questions are like my name, my address, my social security number, my birthday, and then on the back, it asks you for your policy number and your car insurance. Well, I go out to my car to get the car insurance, which, by the way, you don't need that at all. There's nothing printed on the registration that shows the insurance. I think they just want you to write down something that shows you have insurance, which I looked at my card. I said, my car insurance card is expired in 2017. 2017 was the last time. Now, my cousin does my insurance. I have insurance on my car. But I said, Vince, you haven't sent me a card for my car insurance since 2017. He goes, well, where are you? I said, I'm at the DMV in North Cape May. I just drove 45 minutes to get here, and I don't have a car insurance card. He says, all right, well, I'm like 10 minutes from my house. I'll text you the information. So he texts me.
Hey, hold on. You don't have a digital insurance card?
He never sent it to me. My cousin does it for me.
It's on my app.
Yeah, I look. So I Google searched his emails to me, and there is my deck page, and the email was from 2017.
Wait, so you don't get like regular mail, like hard copies?
No, he emails it to me. But the last time he emailed me an updated card was 2017. So he says, oh, I have your card and stuff at my house. I'll get the information and I'll text it to you. So
he's doing no good sitting at his house.
Well, no, if I was to get pulled over for some reason, my insurance card hasn't been updated since 2017. Now, I do have car insurance, but he sent me an up-to-date policy number, and because it asks you on the thing, who's your insurance carrier? And he says, well, the card on 2017, who does it say is your insurance carrier? And I told him, he goes, oh, they're not in business anymore. Jeez, I said, come on, man. Like, it's bad enough I had to drive 45 minutes to get here, and now I don't even have the information that I need. Oh, my God. So the funny part is, so then I get up to the counter, and the guy, he calls out my number. They have a nice system down there. It's very in and out, very quick. Calls my number. I walk up. I hand him a thing. He says $93. I'm like, what's $93? What are you talking about? But because I guess I'm so lapsed that I had to pay twice. Like, I had to pay for whenever it was expired and the new one. So then I drove in my car. And my girlfriend says to me, well, how long is the renewal good for? And I looked at it. I said, probably that's like 3 months. I have to get it done again. So I'm going to have to drive back down. I might as well just say, why don't you renew my new one for the next series already?
I got some more stories from the listeners on the text board if you want.
I'm liking these stories from the text. The listeners are helping me out today.
So
because I don't have a cord to power up my laptop.
So Bill in EHT says, I bought a car from a private owner and had to make an appointment in Manahawkin. It was a 2-week wait just to get a title and registration.
Well, the title thing is different, which I don't understand what DMV wouldn't do that, but I don't know how long that takes, why that would take so long. But, I mean, that's not what I did. I just needed a registration renewal. Like my registration, you have to do it every year. It just expired.
So another person chimed in and says, I had to register my son's car when he turned 17. I had to drive to Manahawkin, and waiting in line was like waiting in line at midnight for a rock concert.
Wait, so why did he have to drive? I guess he didn't know. I guess he did what I said.
Well, because he couldn't do an EHT.
Right, because Manahawkin's actually closer. I'm wondering where these people might live. Like if you live in Absecon or Smithville out that way, or Galloway.
Well, the one guy said he was in Egg Harbor Township.
Okay, well, EHT, I Googled the miles. It's like 38 to Manahawkin and like 47 to Rio. It was Rio Grande is on the website. It's actually North Cape May, which is like an extra 10 minutes further. But the Manahawkin one is definitively closer if you live in EHT. But if you live in like Galloway or Smithville or out that way, Absecon, Manahawkin is definitively closer. They're like you would go out that way, which sucks because you're saying how busy it is. So I'm like in the middle, and I'm like, it's going to be less busy in Rio. I thought I was going to Rio Grande. I only knew I wasn't going to Rio Grande because I called somebody. I was talking to somebody on the phone who lives in Cape County.
And by the way, for those who don't know, the difference between Rio Grande, for the Atlantic County people, the difference between Rio Grande and North Cape May is like the difference between Northfield and Mays Landing. It's a solid 10 minutes usually.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, it was definitely too far. It was definitely.
It's not like they're like nearby each other or something.
Yeah. All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. All right, well, that's how my day started. It is a beautiful day outside. It's like 79 degrees outside, and it's funny because I walked into Chickies and Pete's where we are now, and they got all the games on here. We got people like hanging out. They got the horse racing going on. I mean, I was like, man, it's like a festive party here. Don't people realize it's 79 degrees outside? Like, what a beautiful day. But all right, we got a lot going on today. What's happening? Jeff Nadu at 3 o'clock today. We'll talk to Jeff about the best bets for the weekend. Also, Sky's out today. Bobby's in for Sky. He's going to do the fantasy football for you. If you have a fantasy football question, 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. If you have a fantasy football question. Also, Andrew's got the football at 4. John Clayton tonight at 4:40, the professor. He wrote an article in the Washington Post about one Jalen Hurts. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit as well. Sixers tonight in Denver. Flyers tonight as well. You can hear the Flyers on 97.3 ESPN. Patriots and Falcons, that's your Thursday night football game. I have some thoughts on that. Plus, the first look at the NFL schedule. Todd will be here at 5, Rob Maaddi at 5:30, and 2 more chances to qualify for 99 bottles. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash live from Chickies and Pete's in EHT on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. All right, Thursday live, Chickies and Pete's, EHT. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. You out there, 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. So this is just perfect on how this day is going. So Jonna, who set me up today, went to our house to go get a cord for my laptop, which is dead. She brings the cord back. That cord doesn't fit my laptop. So she brings her laptop, which is a crappy Apple product. And I hate Apple because it's crap. Well, the StreamYard service that we use for the video, you know what it says? Your browser doesn't support StreamYard's technology because it's a crappy Apple. Crapple.
Naturally.
Yeah. So take your crapple and get it out of here. You did. I thank you so much. But that's just indicative of what kind of day it's been so far. So the people watching on the stream, I apologize. I'm doing my best here. I do have an internet service now, but I can't get the stream to where.
For those watching on the stream, I purposely have part of your thing closed off because every time you tilt the phone, you're catching something else in the background.
You know what? It's great. It's that kind of day. That's why I hate Apple. Apple's just the worst of the worst. Like, they are the worst human beings in the world. People who buy Apple aren't very smart. I'm sorry. All right, how about that, Josh? I think I set it up a little bit better. All right, so we got a lot happening today. I want to get into this Ben Simmons story that just came out today, which is that apparently there's a report that Daryl Morey is now like that. He's apparently somebody came up with, I think it was Sam Amico at The Athletic, essentially is reporting that Morey says there's like 30. I don't know if it's Morey himself. He's just reporting that there's 30 players that he would trade Ben Simmons for at this point, right? The number is 30, he says. So now, without just sitting here throwing random names out, that there's 30 players that are basically would suffice at this stage. Now, I'm wondering, has that number grown because of what's happening? Did he have a list of 30 players somewhere? Has he been adding to the list as this season has been going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like, where did they arbitrarily come up with the number 30 players to make it suffice for Ben Simmons? Like, I mean, you find that odd?
Is this like a draft board where you have like a list of guys who are like, hey, when we pick at the 26th pick and one of these guys is available, can we get him?
Right. So, and in the article, you know what's another part of this day? I'm using a laptop that's not mine, and I don't know any of my passwords. So I can't get into anything now. I had this whole show mapped out, planned, written, and I got nothing now. So I had the names of the people who were a part of it. One of them is like James Harden. I want to say Bradley Beal was one, but like that there was 5 or 10 that would kind of be in there that he would basically do now, and that there's a list of 30 players that he would overall look at. Now, the way that I would see this would be, is 30 basically him saying, look, this is my list of everybody from every team? Or do some teams have multiple guys? Because you would think he's not going to do a one-on-one trade with, I don't know, name a team that has like their best player. He's not going to do Ben Simmons because Mike, Jeremy Grant.
The cap numbers make it extremely difficult because for the people who complain about Ben Simmons, they don't realize that Ben is actually on the low end for max contracts. He actually gets paid less than Tobias Harris.
Oh, so, that's. Yeah, I mean, his contract, while he makes $33 million this year, he's not you're right.
So his contract it's very hard to do a 1-for-1 deal at this point.
Yeah, so I found it interesting that I really wish I could get the facts of the story here, but the whole thing was that there's 30 players. Now, we know that date, December 15th, is coming up in about a month from now. So we're about a month inside of that thing. And what people keep asking me, which is why this December 15th, because that's the date that people who signed as free agents this offseason can then be traded. They have to be on the team until at least December 15th.
Correct.
After that date, you can then trade those guys. So anybody who was a free agent this past offseason that signed, now I don't know why. I mean, I understand the rule of why, but I don't see any free agent that signed recently or this offseason that would change this scenario here. Do you? I mean, without having the list of
without having the list in front of me, I would just say that it's not about changing the scenario. It's about making the money work. You might need somebody's contract to make the numbers work on like a 3-team trade. Like if you're going to make a deal with a team like Minnesota, but we know Minnesota's want to give up Anthony Edwards. They keep offering Malik Beasley. We're not trading Ben Simmons for Malik Beasley. So if you're going to get a third team involved, you're going to need to get other pieces included who might be guys who were signed this offseason to make the money work.
Yeah, which brings you back down to the same group of teams in my mind anyway. That's why this report with the 30 teams, and Keith Smith's going to join us a little bit later. He might have some more information on this, but that's why when I read the story with this 30 teams thing, it doesn't really, or 30 players, I should say, not 30 teams. It doesn't change to me anything. Like he might have this list of guys like, hey, if you call me from this team, this is the guy I want from your team. But I think in the end, not all those teams are interested in making a trade with you for Ben Simmons. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to say you have 30 players in that you would be willing to trade for, I think is just a frivolous addition to what's already a mind-numbing, what has become a mind-numbing story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading through the article. I'm trying to read through the Sam Amick article right now on The Athletic real quick. And some of the names on there are Damian Lillard, James Harden, Bradley Beal. They're high on the Sixers list so far.
Yeah,
and it's
no
like
crap.
Those are like duh names. You know what I mean? They're Captain Obvious names.
Uh-huh.
It's not like that part of the I mean, no offense to this
There's
story.
a part of the article though where it says there's 5 to 10. Like, can you find that part?
Yeah, I'm trying to read this and listen to you at the same time.
There's like it says something about like there's 5 to 10 something or another that I guess they would be interested in maybe like right now or maybe after. Did it say something like after December the 15th?
It says on here there's approximately 30 players who would satisfy the Sixers in a Ben Simmons swap. And there's an internal belief that a fair amount of them, let's say 5 to 10 of those players, could become available in the next year or two.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, I'm glad you found that. Thank you. That 5 to 10 of those players that are on the list of 30, this is the biggest part of the story right here. I don't know how I forgot this. That 5 to 10 of the players that they would be interested in, of the 30, would be available in a year or two.
Right.
So, in other words, we'll just wait until these guys become available in 2 years from now. So, I maintain, is what I've said all along, they are not trading this guy. They are not trading him. They are going to make him sit there and rot. They are going to, and the league is basically behind closed doors cheering for them. They are cracking a cork and unloading a bottle of champagne every single day that he sits there and doesn't play. Because I'm telling you, the league does not want Rich Paul winning this battle. And if the Sixers have to sit here and their team has to suffer, which it is right now, they're not good enough. You heard the report from Ledlow the other night. She said the people inside that organization, they understand that they are not a championship team without him, that they need him back, and that half the people in the organization know they need him back. The other half knows they need him back, but knows that it's time to trade him. Well, it's not happening. Morey is not caving in this situation. He will not cave. This is a team that lost purposely for multiple seasons.
Well,
so the mindset is, look, I've said this before. The process was a success, not because they're winning multiple championships, but because it was a business decision. The process was built to reinvigorate interest in an organization that nobody cared about. And now they are one of the top draws, top ticket sales, top selling jerseys in the entire NBA. It was a business decision. And the business is not failing because Ben Simmons isn't there. The business is continuing to prosper with or without Ben Simmons. They may not be good enough on the court, but as I said, the process was never about on-the-court success. Of course, they have to say it is, but the process behind closed doors was all a business decision. It was, how can we re-energize our fan base? Nobody cares about this product. Okay, well, what if we got one of the best players? We lose, we draft a player, we tell everybody we're trying to win championships, and to win a championship, what do you need to do? You got to get the best player. Let's go get the best player. Well, how do we do that? We lose on purpose. Okay, it's a great idea. As soon as we get this great player, people are going to get excited again. They're going to be starving for basketball. Why? Because we lost for multiple years. You lose, and lose. People want to win even more. And then when you finally get to the point where you're able to win, no matter how much they frustrate you, you can't turn away.
Well, Mike, also, if I could just throw this in there, people forget that the process was never completed because of the fact that Sam Hinkie was Rochambeaued out of town. So the fact of the matter is that whatever would have happened if Sam Hinkie would have stayed GM never happened, because now we're on after Colangelo, after Hinkie, after the cabal, after Elton Brand, and now Daryl Morey's quote unquote in charge. We are so far removed from the intent and purpose of the process that it's almost like a negligible point anymore with the Sixers in their modern iteration, because the organization itself completely just flushed it.
Right. Well, that we know. I mean, if anybody's still hanging on to this, like, hey, it's still happening. No, that thing was ripped apart when Hinkie walked out the door. But the whole purpose of them getting to where they are now was predicated on the fact that they lost multiple years. My point is, the ownership group signed off on basically being a non-competitive team for multiple seasons. So if they signed off on that, why would they not sign off on, hey, make this guy sit there? What do we care? We're making money. Like, the point of the whole thing is the process, the decision to do it was not a on-court decision. It was a business decision. And the business is still making money. So they can continue to say, all right, let's make this guy sit out. I'm not gonna give in to his demands. And the whole league is behind him on this. The league is going to say, you can't give in to this guy's demands.
Well,
what
they should be behind
we sign
him.
A guy?
They should be behind him, because of the fact the whole thing is just a fiasco.
It's turned into it, absolutely. But the whole that comment that 5 to 10 of the players will become available in a year or two, I mean, that to me is a huge indicator that they're willing to wait this thing out, right?
And the one quote in the article from a Sixers source to the Athletics is, quote, "This is like a multi-year thing," unquote.
There's no doubt about it. Yep, I totally can see that. This is a multi-year thing. You're damn right it's a multi-year thing. They're not budging, man. They are not going to budge. And look, there's a part of you. Look, I don't have any ill will towards Ben Simmons. I'm no Ben Simmons hater, but I'd rather see him just sit and rot. He deserves to. He doesn't deserve to get traded. Not the way his – look, even if Ben Simmons was begging his agent, like, hey, like, don't say the – like, the way his agent has represented him, they both deserve to suffer in this whole situation. They both deserve to suffer. And, again, this is coming from someone – I'm no Ben Simmons hater. Like, I don't think the guy I certainly believe what he's saying. Again, there's only one thing that makes any sense in this whole situation. Ben Simmons needs mental help. That's the only thing that I will 100% agree with. And most people, if they're being truthful with themselves, as soon as the Sixers lost that series to the Hawks, the biggest Ben Simmons haters all said, this guy has a mental problem.
Right.
That was the easiest thing to see. The easiest thing to see is that Ben Simmons had a mental problem. Well, he needs to go get it fixed. Well, the problem is the way he handled it is he waited 3 months to use that as his reasoning. Well, that's why you turned people to say, I don't know that you really have a mental problem. Yet the same person would say he's got to have a mental problem. You don't just pass the ball off when you have a dunk without having something mentally blocking you. You don't shoot 30% from the free throw line all of a sudden out of nowhere. You must have some sort of mental issue. So all of that makes sense. It's the way that it's handled. And because it's been so mishandled, you reap what you sow. And you chose this guy to represent you. I hope both of them get screwed in this situation, Ben Simmons included. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Live at Chickies and Pete's, Egg Harbor Township. Don't forget, they got Thursday night football tonight. It's a big sports night, so I get out here early. Flyers at 7, football tonight, 8:30 or 8:15, 8:20, whatever time they kick off nowadays. 9 o'clock, Sixers. All the college basketball, all the college football. It's all right here at Chickies and Pete's in EHT. Tomorrow, by the way, I'm over at FanDuel at Bally's, Atlantic City. Next Tuesday, I will be at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City. And on Wednesday, I will be at Vagabond in EHT. So today, here in EHT, Chickies and Pete's. Tomorrow, Bally's, Atlantic City. Tuesday, Chickies and Pete's, Atlantic City. Wednesday, Vagabond EHT. And we have 2 chances for you to qualify for the 99 bottles today at 2:55 and 4:55. Stick around. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, and the free mobile app. Back Sports Bash Live 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. We are at Chickies and Pete's in EHT. Coming up in about 8 minutes from now, your chance to qualify for this year's 99 Bottles Party. The Eagles take on the Saints this weekend. Now, one of the things about this matchup that you're going to hear a lot is the Saints have the number one rushing defense in the league. There's your battle right there. The Eagles, can they run the ball this week against the Saints? Will they be able to get yards on the ground? And then I guess the second story of this game will be the Miles Sanders story. How much Miles Sanders is a part of the offense this week? Do you go with Miles Sanders? Do you go with Jordan Howard? Do you go with Boston Scott? I think Scott's kind of the odd man out of that duo. But how much is Howard involved? How much is Sanders involved? You're going to hear a lot about that. But one of the big stories that I think is going to be is the Saints give up 72 yards a game on the ground. 72 yards a game. I mean, that's by far the best in the NFL. The next best team is the Buccaneers, who give up about 79 yards a game. But in 3 weeks straight, and 2 of the last 3, the Eagles have ran for over 200 yards and 175 in all 3. I mean, to go over 200 yards rushing in an NFL game, I mean, that's utter dominance. So the big matchup for Sunday, as we take a look at that matchup looking forward, is going to be the Eagles' offensive line, obviously, how dominant they have been in the last couple of games, up against the Saints. Here's the thing for the Saints, is if the Eagles are committed to running the ball, they're going to get their yards. This is where the whole Sanders and Howard thing factor in. If you remember the game last year down in the Superdome, what happened in that game? Miles Sanders broke off a long run in that game. That's the game that Jalen Hurts started. He won the game. They beat the Saints down there on the road. But it was Sanders who really got that game going with the long touchdown run, broke it off, got to that second level, and if you remember, kind of peeled off up to the left sideline and was off to the races. That is an element to this offense. Now, keep in mind, the Eagles have run the ball great. Give them credit for that. But it has been a very plotting style. You have to kind of run your way down the field, which is good and bad. Their defense stinks, so it keeps their defense off the field. But it's also, you got to put together a lot of long drives. You add Miles Sanders to this mix, and Sanders is the one guy of the running backs that can get to that second level and break one off. That adds a complete, another dimension to their offense that they really have not had so far this season. And that, to me, is going to be something to kind of keep an eye on, is how much Sanders is in the game. And, look, one of the problems they had with Sanders the first time that he was given the opportunity to play a lot was they threw the damn ball every play. I mean, there was games when he had 3 carries. I mean, stuff like that where, I don't know. And I asked that question a couple of Fridays ago, which was, with Sanders out, is Sirianni going to be forced to kind of get themselves back to a more basically vanilla, I don't want to say vanilla, but a stripped down offense. Like taking Sanders out, was Sanders the guy that he trusted the most in the pass game? So because Sanders was gone, hey, we don't have Sanders, so now we're going to have to run the ball more. And then, boom, they found out that they can run the ball more. Why? Well, they got 700 pounds of human being playing left and right guard, left tackle and left tackle and left guard. And then on the other side, Lane Johnson, his last 2 out of his last 3 games, Lane Johnson has been really good. And then Driscoll over at guard has been really good there. They have kind of rebuilt this thing. And as I wrote down here, one of the things we're going to talk about a little bit later is that this team quietly and slowly, people don't want to admit it, but they're kind of moving in the right direction. They've kind of got their offense back together here. You got the offensive line. Mailata's what, 24? I think you got Dickerson's 23. Seimala is somewhere in his mid-20s. Driscoll and Herbig, both of those guys are 24 years old, I believe, 23, 24 years old. So all 5 guys across your line when Sayamala is back and healthy next year, and that's assuming, I guess, that Kelsey's going to retire. We keep hearing about Kelsey and his future, but I would imagine, and it's going to be interesting to see. Do they keep Dickerson at left guard, or do they move him back to center, which is where he has, where he was, where he played in college? And do they use Sayamala back at left guard, or Sayamala? Remember, many people thought that because he played center, where'd he go? Oregon State.
Oregon
Sayamala?
State, yeah,
right. He played center there. So a lot of people were wondering, was Sayamala going to be the heir apparent to Kelsey? So what are they going to do with those two guys down the road? Are they going to go Dickerson back to center, or are they going to go with Sayamala at center and just keep Dickerson and Mailata next to each other? Because those two guys next to each other right now, they're killing people.
Well, the other thing is that Dickerson's the bigger man. Sayamalu's not as massive of a human being. So wouldn't you want the bigger, stronger guy at the guard and the more athletic guy at center?
You would think that Sayamala, as the smaller guy, he more resembles, what Kelsey brings you. And they do a lot with Kelsey. But Dickerson is such an athletic guy that I don't even think it matters. We look at Dickerson and think that he's just this big, Mosher described him yesterday. He's your classic road grading guard. But what did Mailata say about him the other day? He's like an athletic refrigerator or something to that extent.
Yeah, he called him an athletic fridge, which was great.
An athletic fridge, exactly. And then Dickerson today said, well, if I'm a fridge, he's the walk-in freezer. Those two guys together are very going to be very interesting. All right. Your chance for the 99 bottles. We have qualifications this hour, and in the 4 o'clock hour, we're looking for 3 more people. Your chance is coming up right now. All right, there's your chance to call right now, 609-573-3776, 609-573-3776. First 3 people in, you are entered for 99 bottles. You got to be present to win on Wednesday at Vagabond Kitchen and Tap House in Atlantic City. We're giving away tickets, 99 tickets, Eagles Club Box seats, Flyers tickets, Sixers tickets, and more. Top 3 callers, good luck. All right, hour two, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. The Sports Bash this hour. It's brought to you by Deborah Heart and Lung Center. When it's your heart, you don't take chances. Be sure, demanddeborah.org. Jeff Nadu set to join me right now. We'll take a look at some of the best bets this weekend. There's a lot of action tonight. Got Flyers, Sixers, football, college card, NBA, college basketball. Got a lot of college basketball on right now. The Bonnies are in action, Jeff. They do. I know you're a big Bonnies guy, right? Got our boy Osuno Sunier, his St. Bonaventure. They're playing. What is that? They got that basketball tournament down in like Myrtle Beach or something, right? I'm sorry to pull you away from that. I'm sure you're locked in.
No, I'm actually not, Mike. I'm just looking at some other things right now. But yeah, the Charleston Classic, which I'm not a big fan of those tournaments. I prefer the games just where the routines aren't thrown off. I mean, when you're away at like a nice place, your thoughts could be elsewhere. It's early in the season, so yeah, I'm not a big fan of betting on those types of games.
All right. Well, we got college basketball all day today, but I want to get into a couple of other things here. So I'm sure. No, I don't know if you saw this article today that essentially said the Sixers have about 30 players they would trade Ben Simmons for. Have you seen this?
I have not. No.
So the article suggests, the report, it's from the Athletic, suggests that there are 30 players that they would consider trading Ben Simmons for. But here's the kicker, and this is where it gets interesting. That 5 to 10 of them will become available within a year or two. So when you hear that, doesn't that suggest to you that they are in no rush or are not going to just cave into this guy's demands?
Well, yeah, and this is also why people like me just don't watch or care about this team. You know, this basically holding the fans hostage on a player that you know they just think is worth way more than he is. There are players you could go out and get for him. So what are you doing? You're just going to sit around and waste him, and he's just not going to do anything. He's not going to budge. But you also look at him and be like, what a clown, you know, for behaving the way he has. Yeah, it's taxing, it's embarrassing, and it's making people, you know, not necessarily even me, but just people be kind of out on it. I mean, but yeah, it's going to probably be a while, and you know, this is the problem. But this was the issue with him from the beginning. If you knew him coming out of LSU, he was a me type of guy. That's what he was. That's what he always will be.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you about the way Rich Paul is handling this. Do you think that if he was representing Jeff Nadu, and this is how this has all been going down, would you be happy with your representation? Because, you know, I went on Friday and lambasted Paul, just that he's in over his skis. I mean, he might be a very good marketer. He might be very good PR. He's built himself Clutch Sports. He's got LeBron James, who happened to be his friend, by the way. So that's kind of a little in on how he started his whole thing. But I'll give him credit for building a great brand. But is he doing a good job as an agent for Ben? He's also got John Wall, by the way, sitting out not playing.
You know, it's funny, Mike. I actually equate this to the podcast I have about the mob, right? So John Gotti Jr. took over for his father, John Sr., and everyone in the life knew John Gotti Jr. without his father wouldn't have been anybody. He'd be a complete nobody. Rich Paul's the same way. Okay, without knowing LeBron, this guy'd be a complete nobody. You know, credit to him for doing what he's done, but he's not a good agent. I don't know what Adele sees in him, to be real honest. I don't know. He's just a clown. But yeah, but you know, people cave to people like Rich Paul. Ben Simmons is probably, you know what, we're really getting over on him here, and he's going to tell him, yeah, stick to your guns.
Hold on. You really think that he thinks? Because I've had people text in, and their point is, look, Ben Simmons, the agent works for him. He tells the agent what to do. I don't think this is this. I think Rich Paul is telling Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and Ben's like, yeah, I agree. Let's do it. You know, screw this team. You know,
because the whole situation, Jeff, is he's saying all this back and forth has caused mental anguish. Well, the only person with the back and forth is Rich Paul keeps going to Shams and putting information out there. Without him putting that information out there, there is no back and forth.
He doesn't care about you, Ben. I don't know why you think he does. He doesn't care about you. This whole mental, I mean, some of these guys are such divas, man, the way they behave, you know, mental angle. I mean, What about all the people that have to get up and work every day and they still got to deal with their mental? And it sucks, man. But you are a professional. You've got to go do your job. Your job is to you're contracted to play basketball for the Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
What is his? So I guess I'll ask Mike. Like, what is he on the injury report? Is he just? What is he? Did he just not show up at this point?
You know what's funny you asked that because I haven't actually, like the NBA injury reports that come out, I do see like Keith Pompey will tweet out and he'll say mental, but it's mentally not ready or something to that effect. It is crazy that it has come to this situation. I would say, though, at the end of the season, the way he played in the Hawks series, I think everybody would say there's something mentally wrong with this guy. The problem is the way that Rich Paul and Ben Simmons approach this. If they would have said from Jump Street, he's got mental problems, he needs to get work on, I think we all would have said that makes sense. That's why he didn't dunk that ball. That's why he shot 30% from the free throw line. He had to have some sort of mental blockage. But the fact of the matter is, he didn't want to admit what the real problem is, and now nobody believes him. He became the boy that cried wolf.
Yeah, and look, the truth is, I mean, I don't know if they'll start to realize it after they get their teeth caved in certain games. They're not. I mean, we know they're not good without Joel Embiid. They can't be looking at these guards. I mean, look, Maxi's played pretty well for them. Curry's been good at times, but I mean, you might have to go out and finally you got to get some players in here. I mean, they're not good enough.
Well, here becomes the problem, all right? When Joel Embiid's back and you're back to full strength, if you trade Ben Simmons, let's say you get 3 role players. You are essentially becoming like the Hawks are right now, or like the Celtics were a couple of years ago, where you just got like 11 players who were all similar, and now you're fighting for playing time, and you can't get the guy enough minutes because now you've got a team filled with too many role players. That's why Morey has to hold out for – you know what I'm saying? That's why Morey is in a situation. You try to do that,
Mike. You try to I remember when Kawhi Leonard was a free agent. Oh, we might get him here. He might come here. I remember there was talk LeBron was coming here. They always strike out. Okay, they're never going to get these people we want them to get. They're just not a good organization. They're
it's not a free agent. It's not a free agent destination. No one says, you know what I want to do? I want to go play in Philly.
But here's where I'll contend and say, well, I mean, who would want to go play in New York? But Brooklyn's a sexy place to go play. People want to go play there. Listen, Mike, you know what I would do? I mean this.
Well, people are going to Brooklyn. They got Durant and they got Harden.
That's what I'm saying. So how's it any different from Philly? They're the same weather.
I mean, it's not the weather aspect. It's just the cachet. I'm in New York. You're in the biggest city in the world. You're in the biggest media market. You're in New York. You're in LA.
Trade him for
You're
Kyrie
in Chicago.
Irving straight up. I do it right now.
If that trade's on the table, I think both sides have to consider it. The other problem with that is, though, I don't know if we talked about this, is Ben Simmons isn't vaccinated either.
I don't care. That's their problem.
Well, I'm saying that's why they wouldn't pull the trigger.
Maybe he'll be more inclined if he gets the pink slip to leave. Maybe he'll get it. Maybe he's not getting it because he doesn't want to play.
Well, you can play in Philly without it.
Right,
you just couldn't play in New York.
But he's still So, Mike, there are people in the NBA now that are saying, okay, you know what? I'll just play when we're at home. I'm not going to commit, though, to playing on the road. Like, they don't do that. If you don't
I don't think – well, the difference is there's only 2 areas. I think it's California and New York where you cannot play inside if you're not vaccinated. Any other place.
Well, California, you got the Warriors. You got the Lakers. You got I feel like there's one other. Maybe I'm drawing blank.
Sacramento.
Right. There you go. Sacramento.
Clippers.
Yeah, there's 4 teams. Then there's 2 in New York or in the area. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
It's all absolutely taxing to worry about. And think
it
about.
Is. That we both can all agree on here. All right, let's flip over to the Eagles real fast, and then I want to get some thoughts on some of the weekend card here. Miles Sanders looks like he's going to be back. So, how do you incorporate him into the offense?
I mean, I'll just say it. I don't know how you do. I feel like you just got to rock with what you have here. It's pretty clear they don't really like the kind of back he is.
In the game against the Saints last year, he broke that big one.
Yeah, but it was weird how when he was healthy, they didn't run the ball at all. In fact, Nick Sirianni said, "I don't care what you fans think or the owner. I'm just not run. I don't want to run with this guy." As soon as he goes out, all of a sudden it's back to running. 70% of the time, it doesn't look good from a optics standpoint. They say they'll have him involved, but they also say they're going to run when they weren't running and they didn't run. So I think it's one of those where, what I think will be, Mike, going forward. Remember last year, Deshaun Jackson was constantly on the sidelines. He played once in a while. Then he'd be injured for 3 or 4 games. And by the end of it, he was out. He barely played and he was never healthy. That's what Miles Sanders will be. And then at the end of the season, they'll ship him out of here.
All right, let's look at we're running out of college football here. So the Saturday card, Jeff, kind of give me some nuggets over what you like. The Michigan State Ohio State line's very interesting to me.
Yeah, this game will be a big public game. I don't, look, the sad part.
Don't you think that's a big line though?
Yeah, but again, people are starting to understand Michigan State's got the worst pass defense in the country. So they're all going to be betting Ohio State team total. I'm looking more at some of these other games that you have Cincinnati undefeated. They're laying double digits to a very good SMU offense, one of the best offenses in the country. They've been skating by Team Cincinnati. That could be a tough spot. UTSA, Mike, Texas San Antonio, they're undefeated, 10-0. They've got a really tough game against UAB, which is a good kind of mid-major matchup. There's some meat on the bone here. And as you said, and I'll point out, you also have teams that are vying to get to a bowl game against teams that their seasons might be over. You've got teams vying for a conference title. And then you have these random spots like BYU, okay, 14th in the country. They're an independent. They're going on the road down to Little Statesboro, Georgia, to play Georgia Southern. There are 3 touchdown favorites in the middle of the season towards the end, and they have a big game on deck. We call that, Mike, a sandwich spot. So there's all sorts of scenarios that Oregon plays this week. They have a tough road game at Utah. So there's a lot to still shake out with this playoff and everything else.
All right, so what is your take on the college football playoffs and the 14? We had a big discussion on this yesterday. Cincinnati's 5, Michigan lost to Michigan State, but they're 6, Michigan State 7. You got Oregon, who beat Ohio State in at 3. Doesn't really have another signature win other than but that's the problem. Nobody really has. There's no signature teams that have signature wins over. So are you okay with the 4 teams that are in there?
Yeah, I am. I will say, and this is just my opinion, I think after this week, Oregon will be out of the picture. I think they're going to lose against Utah. That's a really tough spot. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it otherwise. Look, I think the all thought is that they have to expand this going forward. I don't know if that'll be good or bad, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with where they are so far. I think Georgia clearly is in. Alabama's clearly in. I think Ohio State should be in. And then it's really going to come down to either Cincinnati. I think obviously Cincinnati needs to win. They need Oregon to lose. I don't think Michigan's going to get in. They would have to beat Ohio State and then take care of Maryland this week. So I think it's really just going to be either Cincinnati, Oregon, or Michigan.
Do you think Cincinnati does have a shot to get in then?
Well, if Oregon loses and they end the season.
If Oregon loses, right. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens if Michigan State were to beat Ohio State and then Ohio State was to beat Michigan.
Well,
would you get the 2 Big Ten teams in?
Yeah, well, that's true. If Michigan State were to beat Ohio State, they'd already beaten Michigan. Yeah, that's true. Boy, I'll tell you, I would love to see them play Alabama. Alabama might put up 80 in that game.
Alabama, though, what if they lost to Georgia and had 2 losses?
Yeah, again, lot to still shake out here. So yeah, I don't know though. If they lose to Georgia, I don't put a lot of. I mean, Georgia's the clear favorite. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll let the people that make those decisions make those decisions. I'll just wait for it and be here to bet it when it comes out.
All right, you got the college football this weekend. Any college hoops that you like?
Yeah, tonight I feel like, Mike, a couple of interesting spots. I like San Diego State late against Arizona State. I've kind of keyed in on literally early. San Diego State has not shot the ball well. That's not normal for them. I think after a little bit of a break here, they had 5 days off. I expect them to come out and really get it figured out tonight against Arizona State. They're at home, San Diego State, one of the best atmospheres in the country. They're getting a beaten-up Arizona State team coming in. Their best player, Marcus Bagley, might not play tonight. San Diego State, just a tough, gritty, really good defense. I have them winning that game by double digits. What else did I want to throw out here? Well, look, Mike, the key to beating Washington, the Huskies, is to shoot the basketball. They run zone. They never get out of it. Wyoming can really snipe. They might beat Washington tonight. And I'll throw out a small game, just a small little shot here. Cal Baptist. I like this Cal Baptist group, Mike. They can shoot. They play with a great tempo. I like this Lancer team. Might be a late night spot to fade a bad San Jose State team. I'll lean with them as well. But, really staying low with my plays. I only had one play last night. It was Baylor. They won by 45.
There he is, Jeff Nadu. And, of course, you can check him out on Twitter at Jeff Nadu, has his Patreon stuff. You can always check out all his college football. You doing the college football Saturday morning still?
Yep, still doing that. I'm rolling in college football. I had a winner the other night on Toledo. I'm 30-16 on the season, so very happy with my numbers and look forward to another week this week.
All right, Jeff will be back on Tuesday. We'll mix up the weekend. Eagles Saints, what's your pick?
Well, I think it's a huge game for the Eagles. Obviously, you mentioned the playoff picture a couple of times. You look at after this game, the schedule's pretty light outside of that Dallas game. So I think it's a very winnable game. There's really no excuses anymore. This is not a great Saints team. The defense is obviously good, but Eagles are better offensively than the Saints are. They're punished with injuries. Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill. There should be a game plan to beat this team. You got to give this home fan base a win. It's been a long time since they won. Mike, it's funny. Every week, and I could be a bad fan here. I don't know. I'll ask you.
I'll let you know.
Okay, so the Charger game I was at, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Me and my boy go together. He's got tickets. We go every week. He says to me, if they win.
But you go every week?
We both go every week, yeah. We go together. Every week they're at home. And so I said to him, I don't really know if I want to go to the Saints game. And then by last week, it's like, well, if they beat Denver, then I'm back in. Let's go to the Saints game. How many times can I keep doing this? I need to get something back from it. Give me a win this week, Eagles at home, please. Huge game.
Not asking a lot there.
No.
You go 0-4 at home. You can't. You're not asking a lot to say, hey, can I see a home win this year? I didn't realize you went every week.
Yeah, I usually go to every home game. Yeah.
Now, when you go to Lincoln Financial Field and you're walking around, are you getting a lot of people? Hey, Jeff Nadu.
Usually about 5 or so people. I've had people, they ask for pictures. I've had people that have said, bad things to me. But it's, most people are cool, tailgaters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get the occasional jab and then you respond back and they don't say anything. So yeah, I have a good time with it.
All right. I didn't know you went every week. That's interesting. So I know a lot of people went to the Charger game. You were there?
I was. I'm a big 4:00 guy, especially later in the year because it gets dark. You see the nice sunset. I will say, Mike, as I get older, I don't like going to games as much. It's just, one of the biggest hells on earth is walking out of that stadium after a game. It's just not ideal. It's brutal.
I haven't been to an Eagle game, man. I was at the game they played on Tuesday night against the Vikings, like however long that ago was. I think Vic was still the quarterback. He was looking like 2012, something like that. There was a Tuesday night, if you remember that. They played Tuesday night.
I do, yeah.
Joe Webb was the quarterback that night.
I remember that game, yeah.
Yeah, that might be the last Eagle game. I think I went to one other one, but I'm not a big NFL. I'll go to a college game. I'm going to a college game this weekend. ECU, Navy.
Oh, wow. That'll be a good game, actually. I think Navy's worth a look in that game. A little sandwich spot for ECU. They're off the 6-win bowl spot, which for them they haven't achieved in a while. Could be a little bit of a letdown. Navy's always tough, always scrappy. So, yeah, Mike, again, I think, when you live in Philadelphia, let's say you live in 10th and Bigler, it's not bad going to a game because you can go right home. But I live 45 minutes, an hour away from the city. So, it's not ideal sometimes, but it seems like anytime you get Friday, Saturday, it's like, well, I kind of want to go. So,
yeah. All right, Jeff Nadu's back on Tuesday. Gave a couple good plays for you this weekend. Cal Baptist, I like that. Cal Baptist, San Diego State in hoops as well. All right, Jeff, have a good weekend, man.
Okay, Mike, thanks again.
All right, don't forget, we got Jeff back on Tuesday. Check him out at Jeff Nadu on Twitter and his Patreon show Saturday mornings. All right, I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash. Coming up, Keith Smith's going to talk a little NBA with us. 30 players for Ben Simmons. But the key phrase in that we'll bring up. Plus, we'll tell you our latest qualifiers. If you have a question for this week's Fantasy Fix, send it in now. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. Got the Fantasy Fix coming up today at 3:40 on the Sports Bash. I'm Mike Gill, live at Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township. All right, welcome back. NBA season is underway, obviously. We're about a month into the season. What have we learned? We'll talk to Keith Smith right now, Spotrac, NBA writer. We love talking to Keith throughout the basketball season, which has some surprises. This Wizards team's interesting. Cleveland's kind of been hanging around, and you kind of wait for them to fall apart. What's up with the Lakers? And then, of course, here locally, you've got this Ben Simmons thing, which we'll dive into right now with Keith Smith as he joins us on the Sports Bass Live on 97.3 ESPN at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. What's going on, Keith, man? How you been? Yeah, brother, it's great to catch up. The season's about a month old. There's a lot of storylines in it. I don't know that there is a bigger storyline nationally than this Ben Simmons thing. And, I guess every day there seems to be a new twist and turn or a little nugget out there. And today there's a report that the Sixers are willing to move him. There's about 30 guys they would be interested in. But I thought the interesting part of the report, Keith, suggested that there was 5 or 10 guys that they would have interest in that would become available in a year or two. So what is the messaging there when you hear that wording, that a year or two that they would be interested in? That's an interesting point. At what point do you think, if it does get to that level, and meaning it's crossed over from 1 year to possibly two, will the league step in? That's something to keep an eye on. Is if it's past the trade deadline, then what does Rich Paul do? Do you think that Rich Paul has done a good job in representing his client? Mm-hmm. Keith, Kristen Ledlow the other night during this broadcast of the Sixers game, she reported that, hey, some inside the organization realize they are not a championship team without him, that they need him back and are willing to wait. Others inside said, got to cut the cord, time to move on. You heard Reggie Miller. He said, got to move him, but you got to move him to the West. Charles Barkley, same thing. Got to trade this guy. It's over. But he also insinuated you can't trade him to the East. You don't want to face this guy. So if inside the organization there's two mixed messaging and you have people saying, hey, you can't trade him to the East, do you see a resolve anytime soon hearing all this stuff? Keith Smith, let's look at some of the things in the NBA right now. Washington's 10-4. They've won 7 out of 10 here. Is this the year that we finally look at Washington as the real deal? So they've been the biggest surprise on the positive side. On the negative, Atlanta 7-9. Now they've won 3 in a row here, but is there some concern about the Hawks? All right, so for the people who haven't really watched a lot and just looked at the standings and said, hey, what happened to the Bucks? They won the championship last year. They're under 500. Do they have some concerns? Right. All right, Keith Smith, the NBA season is back. We got Sixers Nuggets tonight. No Joel Embiid, and it doesn't look like Embiid is going to play at all on this road trip. So a long losing streak could be in the mix here for Philadelphia. They got Denver tonight, and then on Saturday they'll be in Portland. Monday, Sacramento. Wednesday, Golden State. So a tough West Coast trip here for the Sixers. And Keith Smith is back with us for another season to talk some NBA here on the Sports Best. Keith, always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much. All right, at Keith Smith NBA. Follow him there. Get all your NBA stuff. He does a great job and a lot of insight on this Eastern Conference. Washington 10-4. Remember, they played the Sixers in round 1 last year, and now they're the number 1 seed in the East. Hey, when we come back, Bobby LaMarco is in for Sky this week for the Fantasy Fix. If you have a fantasy football question, text it in now, 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. Got the Fantasy Fix coming up next. We'll get your fantasy football questions answered. Bobby LaMarco is in, brought to you by Matt Blatt Kia. They want to get you approved today. Matt Blatt, 6211 Black Horse Pike. in Egg Harbor Township. Fantasy Fix is coming up next. Send your questions in now. We got that on the way. All right, we're back live, Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township on a Thursday with you out there. I'm Mike Gill at Mike Gill Show. The fantasy season is continuing tonight. Week 11 starts tonight, Thursday Night Football, Patriots and the Falcons. We'll get into that right now. If you have a question for this week's Fantasy Fix, let us know now. Fantasy Fix, it is brought to you by our friends over at the Piccalilli Inn. Your best pick for South Jersey's best wings, Route 206 in Shamong, New Jersey. I'm Mike Gill, and Bobby Lamarco is here in for Sky this week from the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast. There he is on the video stream, everybody. If you have a question for Bobby, make sure you get it in, 609-403-0973. Welcome back, Bobby. What's going on, man?
Mike, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back. Looking forward to talking some football.
Yeah, brother, let's go. Thursday night, got Patriots, a revived Patriots team, and the Falcons now. Give us some guys that should be in your lineup tonight.
Yeah, it looks like Damian Harris is cleared concussion protocol. He's right back in my lineup as a rock-solid RB2. I know Kyle Pitts probably is going to be the eye of Bill Belichick's scheme this week, but you got to play Kyle Pitts. He's a must-start. I like Hunter Henry on the other side at the tight end position as well. For me, it's Cordell Patterson. If he's in my lineups. If he's out, Mike Davis becomes kind of a flex option, RB3 type play. I think he is going to get some production. I know he's been down the last couple of weeks, but if Cordell Patterson's out, I like him in my lineups. The Patriots defense, you got to like them against Matt Ryan, who's been very up and down this season. Hey, if you like kickers, Nick Folk, the Patriots kicker, is on my radar this week as an option. Now, the question comes from Rhamondre Stevenson. Let's get to the hard ones, right? Now with Damian Harris back, can you play him? I am actually saying if you look 2 weeks ago at that Carolina game, he did give you about 10 points and half-point PPR. I think Stevenson is someone, if you are down, let's say, a Darrell Henderson this week, and you need to fill in that RB2 spot, Stevenson is an okay play. Jacoby Myers in PPR formats finally found the end zone last week, has another decent matchup against Atlanta. So Jacoby Myers is someone I'm okay in PPR playing. And then Mac Jones. I actually would prefer Mac Jones in this game over Matt Ryan. So Mac Jones, if you're someone who has a Matthew Stafford, you're looking for a streamer quarterback. I know we're going to talk about Cam later, but Mac Jones is also someone that you could potentially play, but he's a desperation streamer this week.
All right, Bobby, let's get into a couple of key topics for this week. Number one, Philadelphia, Miles Sanders looks like he's back. What's your advice for Eagle running back owners?
Okay, so Miles Sanders is someone I'm targeting. This has been a headache all year. But listen, Nick Sirianni said, you know what? We need to run the football. Jordan Howard leading the way, 13.5 carries per game over the last 3 games. So I did some research for everybody. I looked at when Miles Sanders gets 13 touches, he averages 13.7 points per game in half-point PPR. That's like borderline RB1 numbers. I think they're not going to go back to the early season where he's getting 5 to 9 carries. I think he's locked into double digits. I'm actually going to go get Miles Sanders. I know Jordan Howard might still have a role, but it's going to be hard to keep him on because he doesn't play special teams. So I believe in Miles Sanders. I think he's someone you can go trade on the cheap because I think they're going to really dedicate themselves rest of season to this ground game.
Number 2, Cam Newton. It looks like he's going to be the starter. Should he be a fantasy starter?
I think you should pick him up and see what goes down. Listen, last year, I know Cam Newton wasn't pretty, but he was the QB 17 in fantasy football in points per game, and he threw 8 touchdown passes. Why? Because he runs the football. It's a cheat code for fantasy. I know it's never pretty, but he's got Christian McCaffrey. The last season in 2018 when he played with CMC and company, he was the QB 7 in points per game that year. I think Cam Newton is someone you can pick up on the cheap, and if you're a Stafford owner, you can play him this week.
Number 3, what to do with Russell Wilson? He was awful last week, Bobby.
It's a hold. Listen, Russ, you got to give him – he literally just got pins taken out of his head like 5-6 days before that game. He's playing in Lambeau, in the cold. It's going to be impossible for him to grip the football. His deep ball is going to take a few weeks. You're probably not wanting to start him against Arizona. You might want to look at the alternative streaming options this week, but you're not dropping him. You're not fading him rest of season. I just think you sit him this week and hold on to him for the playoff run.
Don't panic, Russell Wilson owners. Don't let that one game throw you off. All right, playing A.J. Dillon. Is he the guy now in Green Bay?
You talk about falling into something. A.J. Dillon is going to be a monster for the next 2 weeks before the bye, and hopefully when Aaron Jones comes back. But he had 25 points last week. I think he's in my lineup. He's an RB1 this week. Rock solid. Enjoy it for the next 2 weeks while Aaron Jones is sitting out.
All right, last one before we get to listener questions. Devonta Freeman. Someone's going to run the ball in Tennessee. McNichols gets hurt. You got Adrian Peterson, but is Freeman the running back in Tennessee in need?
I think Foreman is someone I would prefer slightly ahead of AP.
Foreman.
No, I did the same thing yesterday on my own show. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Listen,
I have Devonta Freeman on my team.
Yeah.
Who's not very good, by the way.
Yeah, I actually don't mind Freeman if you want to talk a little bit about him this week. Baltimore, he's all right. But the other thing with Foreman, listen, the offensive line for the Titans is average. They're okay. They're not blocking for Derrick Henry anymore, and it's showing. These guys are not running the ball effectively. They've been under 40 yards rushing between these guys collectively the last couple of weeks. No one's really had a big game, but they play Houston this week, right? So game flow should suggest that he should get you 12 to 15 carries. He's another guy. Listen, he's in that Ramondre Stevenson, Mike Davis if Cordell Patterson is out this week. So he's probably an RB3 if you need him.
All right, Bobby Lamarco from the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast. He's going to answer your questions, 609-403-0973. We'll try to fire rapidly as many as we can get. Wentz or Cam Newton? Who you got?
Cam Newton.
Ooh, all right. Cam Newton over Wentz. That shows you how he has fallen. Pick 3. This is a big one here. All right. Bateman, Elijah Moore, Quez Watkins, one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm going to go Quez Watkins. I think this week against New Orleans, a very slot one. I'm actually going to talk about him in just a minute about one of my sleepers. So I'm going to lean Quez Watkins.
Ooh. All right, tight end, Freiermuth, Ertz, Schultz.
I'm going to go Dalton Schultz here. I think I'm still waiting on the Ertz thing with Kyler Murray, so I'm going to lean Schultz.
All right, Andrew wants to know, should he start Dak Prescott or Lamar Jackson? Tough problem there.
That is a very good problem to have. I'm probably going to still roll with Lamar Jackson. I know they got Chicago this week, but they give that rushing. He gives you that rushing floor, and I just don't want to miss out on that ceiling, so I'm going to lean Lamar.
All right, Russell Wilson or Ryan Tannehill?
I'm going to go Ryan Tannehill in that one against Houston.
Ooh, so you're not sold on Russell Wilson yet.
No, I said this week you fade him this week. You fade him this week, yeah.
DJ Metcalf, Jalen Waddle, or Renfro? Pick one.
Listen, I'm not going to fade DK. I'm going to roll with it. I know you're going to go through the lumps, but you got to stay with DK Metcalf.
All right. Speaking of DK Metcalf, what about his teammate Tyler Lockett or Davonte Smith?
I think Smith is going to see a lot of Marshawn Lattimore this week, so I think I'm actually going to go Tyler Lockett.
All right. Here we go. Am I crazy to start? Am I crazy to start Cam Newton over Russell Wilson?
No.
These Russell Wilson questions have been coming in a lot today.
Listen, Arizona's been decent against the pass this season, and I think that until we see him prove it on the field healthy with that finger, Cam Newton's going to offer you a nice, safe floor with that rushing upside.
All right, PPR flex, Christian Kirk, Dan Arnold, or Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson, excuse me.
Oh, Stevenson. The matchup's good for Stevenson. I'm actually going to glean Stevenson there.
All right, bye week fill-in. Newton or Justin Fields versus Baltimore?
Yeah, I'm going to go Cam Newton there too. Ravens are pretty good against the pass. I'm going to lean Cam Newton.
One more for you here. Jacoby Myers, Kenny Galladay, Elijah Moore, or A.J. Green. Need 2 in a regular scoring league. Myers, Kenny Galladay, Elijah Moore, A.J. Green.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling Elijah Moore this week. I'm going to go Moore and Jacoby Myers there.
All right. Bobby Lamarco from the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast. You can also check out their live start-sit show every Sunday at 10 on the YouTube channel. And he's got a couple of waiver wire, favorite plays, sleepers. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so let's go quickly for some guys that I like this week. Myles Gaskins playing against the Jets. I think that's going to be a good matchup for him this week. I like getting Myles Gaskins in my lineup. James Conner, I know he's had the big production. There was no Chase Edmonds, but I know that he could be right back in your lineup set for a tough week last week. If you're really looking for a running back, I like Alex Collins if Chris Carson is out against Arizona. For wide receivers, I know this is an obvious one, but I really love Chris Godwin this week. Playing on Monday night against the Giants. They're a slot funnel defense. Play Chris Godwin. T. Higgins, guy who hasn't really taken off just yet, coming out of the bye, playing against the Raiders. They've allowed the 4th most points to outside wide receivers. At the tight end position, Hunter Henry going tonight against Atlanta. Dawson Knox, I like a bounce back against the Colts this week. If you're looking for some sleepers, Quez Watkins, I really like him against New Orleans. They're down their top slot cornerback, Marshawn Lattimore on Devonta Smith. Marcus Johnson, if you want another sleeper playing against the Texans, 5 for 100 last week, playing against the Texans this week. If you're looking for a tight end, Adam Troutman playing against the Eagles. The Eagles have not been good against tight ends this season. Adam Troutman's getting more and more routes each game. I like Adam Troutman as a sleeper this week at the tight end position.
Okay, Bobby Lamarco, check out the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast. Don't forget the Start Sit Show Sunday morning. If you have questions that we did not get to today, they can answer them live on the air Sunday at 10 on the YouTube channel. Bobby pinch hitting for Sky today. It's a great tandem to have right here on the Sports Bash. A lot of questions today, Bobby. We're getting to fantasy playoff territory. We'll be back next week. Bobby, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Mike.
That's Bobby Lamarco from the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. Those guys do a great job. I've enjoyed having Sky and Bobby all season long. And the Fantasy Fix on the Sports Bash is brought to you by the Piccalilli Inn, your best pick for South Jersey's best wings, Route 206 in Chemung, New Jersey. Josh, can you give me the list of the qualifiers that we had from the 2 o'clock hour? Do you have that list ready to go?
I have it, but I have to turn the page here. Give me one hot second here. Here we go. Mike in EHT.
Michael.
Chris in EHT.
Chris in EHT, all wishing that the DMV and EHT would take registrations.
And Matt in Vineland.
Matt in Vineland. Vineland. All right, Matt, good job. Congratulations to you three. We'll see all three of you guys next Wednesday at Vagabond Kitchen and Tap House in EHT. That's where 99 bottles will be. I'm giving away a pair of tickets to the Eagles Washington Club Box seats. I have Flyers tickets, Sixers tickets, multiple pairs of Flyers, multiple pairs of Sixers, and multiple pairs of many other tickets. But you got to qualify to win, and you can do it in 1 hour from now. All right, here we go. Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast and brought to you by Caesars Entertainment Group of Atlantic City. Come experience the ultimate sports destination all season long. Wild, Wild West, Tropicana, Harrah's Resort, Atlantic City. Book your game day experience now at Caesars.com. Andrew DiCecco from InsideTheBirds.com is here for Football at 4 as we take a look at the Eagles and the Saints. We've got that for you live on Sunday right here on 97.3 ESPN. And Andrew joins me now here on Thursday edition of Football at 4. Andrew DiCecco, what's up, my man? Everything's good. Getting ready for the game, obviously, and doing a lot more research as we get closer to the week. That's why on Thursday I love having you here because we start to look at the matchups. And I guess the big matchup in this game, the Eagles obviously going over 175 yards rushing, 3 straight games. They've gone over 200 yards rushing in 2 out of 3. They're facing a team that gives up just 72 yards a game on the ground. That's the best in the league. So how's that matchup look to you? Yeah, I know that the Eagles obviously are very good up front, but what makes the Saints defense so good against the run? Do they have really good personnel up front? Is it scheme? Do teams not try to run on them? Why are they so good against the run? On the outside, I think it's going to be interesting here. You obviously, this is an offense in the Eagles that likes to run the ball, but if they want to take some shots down the field in this game, how do you like the matchups of the corners up against the Eagles? Smith and Watkins, who have done most of the damage. Obviously Rieger hasn't been much of a factor. All right. So what happens if Goddard can't go? How does that limit what the Eagles want to do offensively if they cannot have Goddard be but they don't really have now I want to say they don't have a receiving tight end. We haven't seen Jackson really get the opportunity, and that's what he is on this roster for, right? They're very intrigued by him as a receiver, but he has really no game experience in doing it. So if Goddard's out, how does that change the dynamics of the Eagle offense? Yeah, it's big time loss if he does not go. We don't have that information yet, although the Eagle injury report did come out today. Goddard was a DNP, did not participate because of the concussion. So he did take a big vicious hit that we saw, and I would feel that it's pretty unlikely that he plays based on the hit that he took, and so far he has not participated in practice. And then it goes to the big question in this game is going to be the run game and how they kind of use these guys. But we saw last year Miles Sanders had a big run against the Saints defense, and he definitely adds another dimension to the offensive run game here. So do you anticipate that he gets the bulk of the carries? Is it going to be a 50-50? What's your read on that so far? All right, one spot that I think is interesting, and by the way, let's go back to this, Andrew. Jalen Hurts has faced the Saints before. He faced them last year and beat them. Now, he did not have a great passing day. I think he was under 50% in that game, but he did have over 100 yards rushing on the ground. And I'm wondering, is that a way? I mean, do the Eagles do some design runs for him, or do you anticipate that Hurts can have a big day on the ground again against this team? All right, let's look at the other side in the Saints offense, which is led, of course, by Trevor Siemian. We'll probably see some Taysom Hill as well. But, Kamara being back, it looks like he's going to play in the game. That really changes things. And I guess the first question would be, how do you figure out how to stop him? They've had problems, in the intermediate part of the field. I would imagine that Kamara might be the biggest nightmare matchup for them almost in the entire league. Yeah, they do. And up front, let's take a look at their offensive line, because we all know, Andrew, for the Eagles defense to kind of be what they want to be, they got to win that battle up front. So the Eagles defensive front against the Saints offensive line, how's that matchup look for Sunday? Yeah. I think he was under 50% last week. I mean, he had a rotten week throwing the football. He ended up with 2 touchdowns and almost 300 yards. He had a couple big plays, but he was under 50%, I think, throwing the football, and is really not an accomplished passer. So you're right. If they can get that pressure up the middle, that's really going to be interesting. These two teams almost mirror each other. They both have one. The Eagles actually score more than the Saints do, 25-24 total yards. The Eagles actually get 30 more yards a game. It's yards allowed. They're very comparable. Saints 253, Eagles, 353, Eagles 364. But it's really on how the Saints get the yards, and that's through the air, 280 yards. The Eagles give up all those yards in the air, 247. But you're saying, Simeon, that's where he's kind of weak. And the outside weapons aren't really there for the Saints. Without Michael Thomas, they don't have that big guy. So it'll be interesting to see how John Gannon, does he kind of use his defense similarly to the way he did against the Lions. Yeah, you mentioned Troutman. He's going to be interesting. Is he going to be the kind of guy that just gets a lot of catches? The Eagles just let him catch the ball, and then they try to make the tackles, which is something that adding T.J. Edwards to the defense has kind of done. It has given them a much better tackler, and Davion Taylor has given them, much better athleticism at that position. He's not always in the right place, but if Troutman catches the ball, he'll be fast enough to get there and make a tackle. So it'll be interesting to see if the Saints, and I would imagine they do this, Andrew, try to exploit Taylor and Edwards and how that matchup will work out. All right, Andrew, you wrote about Marcus Epps, and I'm noticing that it seems that he's getting some more playing time there. And just kind of talk a little bit about what the Eagles may have found with Marcus Epps. Yeah. Andrew DiCecco, football at 4, Eagles and Saints this Sunday. You can hear it live on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Andrew, when it's all said and done, what is the X factor in this game, and who wins this game? All right, and who's this is a big one. I mean, if the Saints win this game, that gets them to 6, keeps them with pace with Tampa Bay, so they need this win. They're still alive in that division. And if the Eagles win this game, that gets them to 5, and depending on what happens around them this weekend, 5 might even have them in the 7th seed by the end of the weekend. So, big game. Who do you like? Well, I needed to pick up Elliott for my fantasy this week because my kicker's on a bye, so hopefully he hits a nice game-winning 58-yarder to give me 8 points in my fantasy league. There we go. That's a big one there this weekend in Philadelphia. Eagles, Saints, listen live on 97.3 ESPN. Andrew DiCecco, football at 4. Check out his work over at InsideTheBirds.com. Andrew, thank you, my friend. He'll be back on Tuesday to give us his thoughts on the Eagles and Saints, and we'll be here tomorrow, football at 4, Adam Kaplan. Tomorrow we're live at Bally's FanDuel Sportsbook. Another live show next Tuesday, another live show next Wednesday. So you can come out and see us on the road. 3 out of the next 4 shows, including today, we're live over at Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township. And Football at 4 is brought to you by Caesars Entertainment Group of Atlantic City. Come experience the ultimate sports destination all season long. That's at Wild Wild West Tropicana, Harrah's Resort, Atlantic City. Book your game day experience today at Caesars.com. All right, when we come back, we got some picks for you. Also, John Clayton will join me at 4:40 today. And then the 5 o'clock hour, first look at the NFL schedule for Week 11. We'll go through all the games. Todd Rank is back. And then Rob Maaddi tonight at 5:30. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. All right, Thursday Night Football. Don't forget tonight, 97.3 ESPN. We'll pick it up in progress after the Flyers and Lightning. The Stanley Cup champs are in town tonight. You can hear Flyers and Lightning right here on 97.3 ESPN. Patriots Falcons. Patriots are a 6.5-point favorite tonight. Over under 47. My guy JR from wagerpro.com and the Wager Pro app is back to give us a couple of plays for the weekend. We'll get his favorite play of the week. But first, we got tonight, Thursday Night Football is back, JR. All right, a couple games of interest this weekend. I want to ask you about this one's not sexy either, but it's 49ers, Jacksonville. San Fran, big win last week, but they have struggled all year. Jacksonville's fought hard. They're a 6-point dog at home this week. Are the 49ers ready to be a touchdown favorite on the road? I like that one as well. Here's one. Lions last week, they tied. I like the Lions last week, getting 8 against Pittsburgh. And then the Browns this week. The Browns got walloped last week, and now they're 11.5-point favorite. I can't figure it out. Kind of like the Lions 2 weeks in a row. Ooh. All right. There's a lot of interesting games this weekend, JR, but what is your favorite game of week number 11? There you go. That's the play for the weekend. And, of course, tonight you got Thursday Night Football to kick off all of the Week 11 action. JR from WagerPro.com and the Wager Pro app. Thursday Night Football. Keep that money rolling in, JR. Appreciate it as always, my friend. Another winner for you last week and hopefully another one for you this week. Thanks so much. All right, we got plenty more to go, including this Eagles game against the Saints. John Clayton has a nice, interesting article over at the Washington Post. It's been a topic that a lot of people have been taking a look at this week, which is Jalen Hurts. What does John Clayton hear and think about Jalen Hurts? The Eagles quarterback is one of the top-ranked quarterbacks all of a sudden in the NFL over the last couple of weeks. What are some of the things? Is Hurts the answer for the Eagles? And 5 big quarterback questions across the NFL, including that Jalen Hurts one. Is he the answer for the Eagles? In many ways, quarterback changes have defined this offseason. 4 starting quarterbacks were traded, 5 were drafted, and of the 32 starters in week 1, 11 were in their first season with their new team. That includes Jalen Hurts, who's the first-year starter full-time. 3 more were new to their full-time starting roles. So we'll take a look at the quarterback position as a whole in the league with John Clayton from the Washington Post coming up next. And don't forget, we've got another chance for you to qualify for 99 bottles. Listen for that sounder to go off today at 4:55. You're running out of time to enter. You got today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll be live on Wednesday at Vagabond Kitchen and Tap House in Egg Harbor Township. Now, today we're in EHT. We're over at the Great Chickies and Pete's Crab House and Sports Bar. Nice full bar. People ordering the fries. The food is moving. The beers are going. They got the Favorites horse track right behind us. That place is jumping as always. It's a great place to come on out. And we've got live basketball. By the way, this Charleston Classic down in South Carolina, 3 former Cape Atlantic League players are all playing. St. Bonaventure has Osuna Sunier. You've got Taj Thweet, who plays for, obviously, West Virginia. And the other player down there is Jaleel White for Temple from Wildwood Catholic. So you got a bunch of Cal players. If you want to turn on the TV, you'll check them all out on this Charleston Classic tonight. All right, I'm Mike Gill. John Clayton, the professor, joins me next. All right, back on a Thursday, we know the Eagles and Saints, big one this weekend. Saints are currently the 6th seed, Eagles on the outside looking in. But are they on the outside looking in for a quarterback? John Clayton answers quarterback questions. Is Jalen Hurts the answer for the Eagles? Over at the Washington Post, NFL columnist John Clayton is back with us right here on the Sports Bash Live 97.3 ESPN. And we saw the Eagles in Denver last week pick up a big road win at a tough place to play. And now they're going to get a chance to get themselves into the playoff mix if they can get a win against the Saints. But I guess the big question the Eagles need to answer throughout this season, John, is Jalen Hurts the answer for them at quarterback? Are they starting to formulate a better opinion? Yeah, I know that the draft, how much does the draft not having that marquee couple of guys play a factor into them maybe saying, you know what, because they do have those 3 first-round picks. I think it's going to make them one of the more interesting teams this offseason. John, you wrote about quarterbacks over at the Washington Post. I guess before we look at some of those questions, because there's so many intriguing things here, I guess one question will be, do you anticipate this being an offseason where veteran quarterbacks get traded like they did last offseason? Is that kind of a new way for teams to go out and fill their quarterback problems? That'll be interesting. What do you think about what's happening with Russell Wilson? We heard a lot about him in the offseason, and now obviously he's back from the injury, and he didn't play well last week, but could he be another guy that could be moved in the offseason? And I'm glad, John, that you came on here and have put that to rest, because obviously a lot of people, they ask me all the time, well, you think Howie Roseman's going to trade for Russell Wilson? We know that the Eagles wanted to draft Wilson. They have all this capital. And you're hearing, well, you're saying, no, not the case. Mm-hmm. John Clayton, Washington Post, NFL columnist. How does Cam Newton factor into the NFC playoffs? By the way, John, I'm on location, and the gentleman who works here is a big Seahawks fan, and he is pumping his fist to hear you say what you said. He just thanked me for your answer there. All right, I want to ask about Baker Mayfield and what happened in what's going on in Cleveland. This was the number one pick in the draft. He's now 4 years in. Will he be the long-term guy in Cleveland? John, we agree on that. Let's go to some veteran guys. Tom Brady, Matt Stafford. Yet Stafford has a new toy in Odell Beckham, but didn't look like they were on the same page the other night so much. Are there some concerns with the Rams? Hey, John, the Eagles went to Denver last week and ran the ball all over a pretty good Broncos offense. But what was the reaction in Denver now after? I mean, it seems that a lot of people were pretty surprised that the Eagles were able to go down there and, handle them the way they did. Last one for John Clayton here. The NFC, the AFC too, but we're kind of in NFC country here. The NFC has from seed 6 down to almost 4. I think the only team out of it is Detroit. Do we anticipate that this is going to be down to the wire, week 18, or do you think that this will kind of settle itself out here in the next couple of weeks? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And by the way, the AFC has 7 teams with 5 wins, so you're going to see a wild card race on that side, wild too. But as you just said, John, teams with 3 wins, they're still in the mix for a wild card spot on the NFC side. John Clayton from the Washington Post got a nice piece up on the quarterback questions 11 weeks into the season here. Check that out at Washington Post, and of course at John Clayton NFL on Twitter. And he was kind enough to join us right here on the Sports Bash. John, always a pleasure, my friend. There he is, John Clayton from the Washington Post, longtime NFL columnist here. And he talked about Jalen Hurts in that piece, and he's saying, hey, not sure he's the long-term answer. Look, Nick Sirianni was asked it. We'll talk to Rob Maaddi about it tonight. And Maaddi asked the question on Tuesday to Nick Sirianni, or Monday, I guess it was. And Sirianni said, have you watched the last 3 games? My question really becomes, are the Eagles forming an opinion based on the last 3 games? Not that that's what they're doing, but my point is, are they starting to change their opinions based on the last 3 games? Real quick, Todd will be up next to look at the week. First look at the schedule. And these are the teams you're rooting for this week for playoff implications. Real quick. Tonight, you're rooting for the Patriots to beat the Falcons. You're rooting for the Ravens to beat the Bears. You are rooting for the Packers to beat the Vikings. You're rooting for Washington to beat the Panthers. You need Jacksonville to beat the 49ers. You need the Chiefs to beat the Cowboys, although not really. That game kind of inconsequential. And you need the Cardinals to beat Seattle and Tampa Bay to beat the Giants. That's who you're rooting for this week. We're going to go over all the games. We'll go through the spreads with Todd Rank, my former co-host, right here on the Sports Bash. We always have fun on a Thursday right here, so stick around for that, and we'll go through that. Then Rob at 5:30 tonight will close out tonight's show. Don't forget, game night tonight. Andy McNamara joins Josh. Now, 99 bottles, your chance. All right, there you go. It's your chance to call right now, 609-573-3776, 609-573-3776. If you're one of the first 3 people in, you're qualified for a chance for 99 bottles where you can win Eagles Club Box tickets, Flyers tickets, Sixers tickets, and tickets to other great events around the area. It's all happening next Wednesday at Vagabond Kitchen and Tap House. All right, the 5 o'clock hour starts now, and we look at Week 11 in the NFL. Our first look at all the schedule, all the games, all the lines, everything. My former co-host here on the Sports Bash, Todd Rank, is with me as we like to hash through the games and everything else that's going on in the world. It's brought to you by Jenkins for heating and air conditioning, installation service, and maintenance, plumbing, or drain cleaning service. Call 609-641-6440 or JenkinsPlumbingandHeating.com. I'm Mike Gill, live at Chickies and Pete's here in EHT on a Thursday, and good to be here. The place is packed, by the way. I mean, every single seat at the bar is taken. There's not a place to be had. I mean, if you're coming down here, you're going to have to get a table somewhere. It looks like every bar stool is taken. It's because of the weather. That's why. Todd Rank, it's like 78 degrees here in Jersey today. What's up, man?
You got better weather than I do. Look at you.
Right, 78. 78 it said today.
I miss that Chickies and Pete's over there. I do miss it. How is it? You said it's crowded today. It's packed. Everybody's enjoying
packed.
it.
I mean, I turned my camera around if I could, but full house. Got a couple people sitting right in front of me here. Two there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's got to be 25 people sitting at that bar right now.
I believe a few people might have played hooky.
Well, it was 78 degrees out today. I can see why. It's just a nice day.
If you could, you would, but you had no way out of it.
That's right. If I could, I would. All right, Week 11 is here, my man. We got a lot of good games this weekend. Man, can you believe we're at Week 11 in the NFL? Like, when you get to that Thanksgiving's next week.
It's here next week, my friend. You got any big plans? What's going on with the family? What are we doing?
Nah, nothing big going on there.
You'll keep it close to home?
I got to call the football game. Every Thanksgiving, I've been calling the football game for years.
Ah, that's right. That's right. But that's fun. I mean, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're keeping it close. Everybody's kind of hanging around this area. You're not getting out of L.A., are you?
I am on Friday. I'll watch the 3 games on Thursday. I got a couple of Friendsgivings to bounce around to. I'm going to fry a turkey this Thanksgiving, by the way. And then Friday, I get on that plane and I make it to Vegas right about 1 p.m.
You go to Vegas for Thanksgiving.
And we'll sit through the weekend. Birthday's on Sunday, just a little celebration. And we get back on Tuesday. Let's hope that the powers that be are on my side when I'm in Vegas on Sunday for my birthday. Please, one time can I win it? One time.
Well, here's some of the games right now. Let's see what we like here. Let's take a look at the Week 11. First look at the NFL schedule for Week number 11. It starts tonight with Thursday Night Football. You got Patriots and the Falcons. Now, Eagles need the Falcons to lose this game. I have the Patriots. I had the Patriots as a playoff team before the season, and I like the way they're playing right now. Mac Jones has been fantastic. Their defense is really good. This Falcons team got blitzed a couple of weeks ago, last week by Dallas. That game was like 36-3 at halftime. I like New England. The game's in Atlanta, but that shouldn't matter. The Eagles went down to Atlanta and kicked the crap out of them too. So I'll go. I like the Patriots here. I'll go Patriots 4.5.
Yeah, this is tough. And it's a short week, and I'm not sure about Cordell Patterson. I don't know if Patterson's playing tonight, which could really hurt the Falcons. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I think the way that the Patriots have been playing defensively, I think this spread's even higher than 4.5 on the road. I'd say closer to 6. I'm going to say 6 for the Patriots, even though I think I like the Falcons to cover tonight.
Well, you know that Todd Rank, he's Mr. Price is Right. The line is 6.5. So Todd gets the win right there, as the Patriots are also being bet on at 72% by the public.
Wow, 6.5 there.
Let me ask you this. Did that line move up at all, or has it been staying steady there?
Moved 1 point.
It moved 1. Okay, 5.5 to 6.5.
A little surprised by that. All right. Colts and Bills is your first one on Sunday. It's a 1 o'clock game. This one's, the Colts, they're just kind of hanging around here. They're 5-5. Everybody has 5 wins in the AFC. So they're just with everybody else right now. 7 teams have 5 wins in the AFC. Colts are one of them. They play the Bills. Bills, man, they've been disappointed. They kicked the crap out of the Jets last week, but, they lost to the Jags. They struggled a bit with Miami. Something just doesn't seem like it's going right there. I'm going to go Bills at home. Give me the Bills at home by 6.
Yeah, look, the Bills finally came back and played a game last week. This league is just so up and down each week. I don't know that I trust Carson Wentz on the road in Buffalo. Do you? I think Buffalo's favored. Maybe I go 5.5, Mike. I'll go 5.5.
Bills are currently favored by 7. 7
All right.
at
Wow.
home versus the Colts.
That's a pretty big number there. 7 full touchdown. I kind of like the Colts in that game, actually. All right, let's go.
All right.
Ravens, Bears. Ravens are on the road at the Bears, and Ravens, they looked terrible last week. The Bears are coming off of a bye week as well, or they had they had a bye, I think, last week. So, man, this Ravens team has so many injuries. It's just tough to kind of navigate them. I got Bears at home. I'm going to go Baltimore still favored in this game. This Bears team, though, with Fields, I feel like he played better the last time we saw him. I got Ravens by 3.5 here.
Well, you're right. He did play better the last time we saw him. And Baltimore, the injuries are catching up to him, Mike. They had all those to start the season. And I really feel like when you're looking at Baltimore, they looked a little discombobulated last week. Lamar Jackson, they're just asking him to kind of be Superman every week. I do think Baltimore's favored at Chicago, but I think it's what did you say, Mike? I'm going to go about a field goal, maybe 3.5. I'll go.
Yeah, I went 4. I think, what did I say, 4, 3.5 or 4?
I thought you said 4.
All right, 4.
Yeah, I'll go 3.5.
Well, Mike's closer either way because it's a 5 at DraftKings, 5.5 at FanDuel.
And you like the Bears in this game, Mike, to cover?
They're at home getting 5 points. Yeah, I'll take the Bears. I think they keep it close.
Yeah.
Lions, Browns. This game's interesting. The Lions tied last week. Browns got the crap kicked out of them. But this is one, I actually know this spread. We were talking about this one earlier. It's like 11.5. I like Detroit, man. Last week I liked Detroit against Pittsburgh. You give them 11.5 against Cleveland. Now, Cleveland's one of those teams, though. They're like a bully. They'll play down to people. They get beat up by people, and then they pick on, like, they'll pick on the Lions and beat them like 42-10. But you give me 11.5, I'll take Detroit. But
that
Yeah,
that's my feeling, Mike, is that I feel like Detroit's coming in at the wrong time. So even though that spread, and you know it obviously at 11.5, I would say I actually think the Browns cover. They got way too much talent. Baker's got to have a rebound game this week. They're at home. Detroit maybe feels good that they got a tie against Pittsburgh last week. I just think Cleveland runs over them. Even though I hate all those points, I think Cleveland actually covers.
Look, I didn't like Mayfield when they took him number 1. He's been good, not great. And then I think we're seeing now that the Browns, they think they made a mistake taking him number 1.
Yeah.
Guys, keep in mind, no Jared Goff expected for this Sunday. So the Lions have to back up
Hey,
going
Mike,
into Cleveland.
Mike, I'll let you go back on your word now if you want to take.
Well, I didn't know that. When did that news come out?
Yesterday, today.
Jeez. Well, I had a bad day today.
Well, I knew he was hurt, but is he confirmed? It's confirmed. Yeah, it's confirmed that he's out.
He hasn't been ruled out officially, but he hasn't practiced.
Okay.
At all.
Okay. So there's a chance.
Well, I just saw the news today, too, that Kamara didn't practice today, and neither did the 2 tackles for the Saints.
That's correct.
Ooh.
That's big for the Eagles.
That is. All right. Texans, Titans. That's your next game up here. First look at the schedule. Texans, Titans. I mean, I like this Titans team, man. I know they don't have Henry, but it doesn't matter. They just turn around, hand the ball off. You got Adrian Peterson. You got Foreman now. You've got McNichols played well. They still do what they do, and the Texans are just awful. I like I'm going to imagine Tennessee's like a 10. They're at home, so I'll go 10.
Yeah, I was going to say they've got to be similar to that Detroit-Cleveland line. I will say this, though, Mike. When you're looking at this team, Tennessee, they're winning games, but they haven't been covering every game. And, I mean, that was a dirty
backdoor. They covered against those Rams out there.
Yeah, but there was a dirty backdoor cover by the Saints last week. Very dirty. So I would go Tennessee.
By the Saints, but we're talking about the Titans.
No, I'm saying the Saints.
Because they played the Titans. Right.
They bit the Titans. So I would say you're right. The Tennessee's got to be double-digit favorites against Houston at home. But I don't know that I love Tennessee to cover it. I'll go 11, Mike. I'll go 11.
Tennessee is currently favored by exactly 10 at almost every book except for 2.
Yeah, and the Texans just got nothing, man. That team's bupkis. They're just terrible.
Yeah, but they could be one that just shows up. Tennessee doesn't show up because they know they're going to beat them even with their eyes closed.
Yeah, but that Tennessee's the number 1 seed right now, and that matters because you get the bye. If you're the 1 seed, you get a bye. You're the only one that gets a bye.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
All right, so Dolphins, Jets. This is I think the Dolphins defense looked good last Thursday night. They got an extra time. The Jets got their butts kicked last week. I mean, the Dolphins looked decent against the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. I like the Dolphins here. They're giving I'm going to go Miami. The Jets can't be favored in this game, can they? I mean, they stink.
Remember, Joe Flacco's your starter.
Oh, geez. Flacco's starting too, right? I mean, but he might be competent enough to get him down the field.
Of course he
I'll
can.
go Dolphins 2.5.
Is Tua going to be the starter for the Dolphins? Is that what we've
I would
heard?
imagine so.
Right?
He's
Yeah.
projected to start as long as he's feeling well enough from that finger issue.
I mean, Mike, this bleeds a field goal game, right? One way or the other. This game's going to be a field goal game. I'll take the Dolphins -3 as the spread, but man, I would not be surprised if somehow the Jets sneaky got in there and won by a field goal.
Miami is currently favored by 3.5 on the road at every book.
They give you that
Okay.
hook. They give you that hook.
Sure they do. And it's a road favorite with the hook there. That's where they get you. All right, Washington is at Carolina. You got Cam Newton likely to be the starter in this one. Washington, of course, is coming off a win last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was a huge surprise, obviously. They lost Chase Young in that game. Panthers won big on the road at Arizona. So both these teams had some surprising wins. So I'll go Carolina here. I got Carolina just the customary 3. I think this game's pretty equal.
Yeah, it feels like it, Mike. I think Chase Young being out it really will hurt Washington defensively. And I do like Carolina, but I think there's way too much hype early on with this Cam Newton. I mean, everybody settled down. I mean, come on. There were a couple nice plays.
He had like 2 runs. They just happened to be touchdowns.
That's what I mean. And now I heard the coach, he's talking about it looks like they're leaning or trending towards Cam being the starting quarterback. If he's the starting quarterback, I don't like the Panthers to win this game. I mean, I saw him all last year with the New England Patriots, Mike. The man couldn't throw the football. I mean, it's the bottom line. He's going to run the game. They're going to know that he's running the ball. I do think Carolina's favored, but I like Washington to cover. I'm going to take the hook. I'm going to go because they got McCaffrey still.
I might like the under in that game.
Carolina -3.5.
Carolina is currently favored by 3 at every book except for Caesars at 3.5.
Yeah, there you go. 3.5.
By the way, that over-under is 43.
It's a little low, but I don't know that there's a lot of points scored in this game.
No, I'll be honest. If you look at a lot of the Carolina games this year, Mike, they've all gone under. So I still like that trend. You're right.
Well, they scored 30-something last week themselves.
Yeah, but I'm saying overall, if you look at their games are in the 30s mostly.
Panthers have hit the under 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, 49ers, Jaguars. This one I know. It's 49ers 6. They're a road favorite by 6 points against the Jags. I mean, they look good against the Rams the other night. Now, I like the 49ers at the beginning of the year, and I just picked them to make the playoffs when we did who's in, who's out on Tuesday. Now, I'm rooting for Jacksonville, but Jacksonville has played a lot better football recently. They have played tougher. They're just not good enough to win right now. So San Francisco by 6 on the road. I kind of like Jacksonville in this game, but I think it's San Fran by 6.
Well, and this is what's hard, Mike. The Jacksonville defense has played better. That offense is still, I feel like, having a lot of trouble scoring the points, right? And so it's not that the 49ers score a lot. That was a great game against the Rams, but I just think if you look at it, Jacksonville's got to score points to be in these games. And so I'm a little concerned about that. Saying that, if the line at 6, I'm probably going to lean to the 49ers to cover that.
Well, guys, here's the interesting thing. It's 6.5 now at DraftKings and FanDuel. It's only 6 at a couple of those offshore books.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, too, is San Francisco has just been so inconsistent. I just can't say that they're going to put together a back-to-back big offensive weeks here. That's my problem. And as you said, Jacksonville's defense is actually not bad.
Yeah.
All
Agreed.
right, what's up next year? What do we got next year? Let's go Bengals and Raiders. Oh, these are 2 teams. I mean, that Bengals team, like, you want to believe in them, and then they do that. Now they're 5-4. The Raiders, same thing. They've had some wins that you're like, wow, the Raiders are actually better than I give them credit for. Then they look terrible. They looked awful on Monday night. I got to imagine Vegas is at home. They got to be a favorite in this game, right? I mean, we're not ready to put the Bengals as a road favorite yet. So I'll go Raiders 2.5.
I mean, don't these teams both feel like a carbon copy of each other, Mike? They really
They're
do.
two teams that I can't believe in because of who they are, and
Yeah.
they both are 5-4. I'll give them both credit. They've had surprising wins this year, but I don't believe in either one of them.
Agreed. And for that reason, I think you're right. Because the Raiders are home, you got to give it to them. I actually think it might be less than even 2.5, Mike, because of the performance last week. Let's go.
You believe the Bengals are favored? You think the Bengals are
I
favored?
think the Raiders are favored, but I think it's less than 2.5 even. I think it might be 1.5. I'll go 1.5 Raiders.
Well, guess what? The Bengals are favored by 1.
Wow.
Wow, I'll take that.
You like those Raiders in this game?
I mean, I feel like they're going to bounce back. Look, their defense is better than they performed against Kansas City. And I just think Carr's a hot and cold quarterback. I think he's more hot at home. So I'll give it to them. I'll lean to them.
Man, I can't believe it. That the odds makers are actually putting trust that Cincinnati's a road favorite in this situation. That I have some surprise.
Does that scare you though? If you're looking to bet this game, does that scare you to take the Raiders?
I'm not betting that game. I'll tell you that much. That's a game I'm saying. Right, I'll take a pass on that.
Well, you might want to bet the game because the public is going heavy Bengals. So maybe you want to run with the other direction.
Yeah, I might take the Raiders with that situation.
Yep.
You got the Raiders as a home dog there.
Wow. And what have the Bengals shown you in the last couple of weeks that would make you feel like they're better than the Raiders?
Not enough.
At all. My goodness.
All right, what do we got here? Cowboys Chiefs, big one. This is the 4:25 game. You'll hear this game on 97.3 ESPN. We'll pick it up at the end of the Eagles and Saints game. Cowboys on the road. Chiefs finally look good. Cowboys looked great last week. They finally got things going. They got some injuries up front, though. The Cowboys' run defense has some holes in it. They got some injuries on the defensive line, but the Chiefs' defense is still bad. What's the over-under in this game? I might like the over in this one, but I'm going to go Chiefs at home, probably by 3. They're not ready to make the Chiefs a home dog after what they did last week.
Now, this will be interesting to see. I'll be interested to see, Josh, where the money is going right now, because if you're giving Dallas, if you're making them dogs, I got to believe the public is heavy on Dallas. I agree with you, Mike. I think Kansas City at home, after that performance, the question is this now the real Kansas City Chiefs team?
They just don't have the defense, man. I just don't think they'll have the defense to stop the Cowboys.
But you think the Cowboys' defense is good enough to withstand?
I think I mean, what's the over-under in this game? It's got to be, 55?
Yeah.
The over-under is actually either 56 or 56.5.
Over-under 56. My God, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of points. But I'm saying I'd say 35, 30, something like that.
But who do you got winning?
Remember, Kansas City is at home.
Yeah.
Dallas looked really good last week.
Yeah, but their defense is
That was the Falcons.
It was the Falcons. Good point.
Kansas City looked really good last week, and they actually
looked
played
really
good defense. They played good defense last week. I don't think Dallas defense is
stout enough.
Stout, right? I think they're they played some teams so far. I mean,
No, I like Kansas City to win this game, and I think it's right where you said, Mike. I'd say a field goal.
Kansas City is currently favored by 2.5
All
across the board. Todd, you want to know where the money's going? The money is going 56% Cowboys.
Yeah, I had a feeling. But I think that's what I mean. I think the public is going to lean to the Cowboys getting points. And I think
it's an interesting game.
Yeah.
It's an interesting game. It's an interesting game because Kansas City has struggled. And now the last time you saw them, they looked more like who you thought they would be. Dallas has been so dominant, and then they looked terrible one week and then followed it up the next week with a big one. So now you have these two teams who look the best that they have all year the week before, and then you're like, of course, well, they both looked good last week, but you know how week to week these things are. And has Kansas City turned the corner? Is Dallas, I like Dallas's team in general, but I think their defense is still
Well, you remember that
defense is
You remember that first game of the season, Mike, when it was Dallas-Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay beats them by 2. Great game. You could see another one like this with these two teams where you got that 2.5 one way or the other.
Yeah.
Maybe a Kansas City win by 2, something like that.
I don't think Dallas has a Super Bowl level defense. They have a Super Bowl offense. I don't think they have a Super Bowl level defense.
We'll see what they can do this weekend for sure.
Yeah, man. All right, let's go to another interesting one. Seahawks-Cardinals. Now, it looks like Murray might be back in this game. He did not play last week. They looked terrible last week. The Seahawks looked worse, though. I got to imagine Russell Wilson looks a little bit better. I'm going to go, if Murray's back, I got to imagine they're a favorite in this game because the Seahawks just look so bad. But it's tough to be a home favorite when you're Seattle. I mean, a home dog at Seattle. You don't see that happen too much, but I'll go Arizona by 2.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't score last week, Mike. They didn't score a point. First time in Russell Wilson's career, by the way, that he hadn't scored a point in the game. I would agree on all your points. I think, look, if Arizona's got Kyler Murray, they've got to be favored in this game, but it can't be so egregious because you got the 12th man, you're there in Seattle. I'll stick it about a field goal. I might even put the hook on that, and I'll go Arizona minus 3.5.
So this is the one that's got the most variety this year. DraftKings is 2. FanDuel is 1.5. Caesars is 2.5.
Interesting. So it's all in that. It's under the field goal though. So depending on how you lean on that, I mean, you got to believe Seattle's going to bounce back, Mike. I mean, they've got to. But Arizona's defense is legit. I mean, they're a good defense.
I'm starting to waver on them.
Well, but you're wavering because Kyler Murray hasn't been out there for 2 weeks.
True, but their defense got blitzkrieged last week by Carolina at home.
It was weird. But do you think, Mike, that was
no
a letdown
DeAndre
game?
Hopkins, no Kyler Murray.
And again, you're playing a Carolina team with Cam Newton coming back. They don't maybe think, what's he going to do? You know what I mean? It was a little bit of they made some plays, Carolina, that were a little outside the box.
Cam Newton played like 2 plays last week. They played against P.J. Walker.
He played 8 plays, but okay.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, Mike.
Well, I'm saying he had the touchdown runs that people are talking about. But the other, it's not like all 8 plays he did something. He did something on 1 play. He scored on 1. P.J. Walker could have ran that in.
Well, but what I'm saying is some of the alignment and the play calling with Cam in the game, maybe Arizona just wasn't prepared for. That would be my thought.
But
that would be my thought.
They lost another game recently that made me raise my eyebrow low. Who'd they lose to?
The 49ers.
They lost to the Niners. And I was like, ooh,
that was an
ugly game. That was an ugly game. And that made me kind of like, sometimes you're the Arizona Cardinals for a reason. You can polish it up as much as you want, be 8-2, but in the end, you're still Arizona until you prove it differently to me.
Well, they're going to have to. But again, these teams have all gone up and down, Mike. So even if they end the year 12-4, let's say,
yeah,
they're in a good position, and then a matter of can you perform in the playoffs, and that's going to be the big question.
2 more. All right, quickly, Steelers-Chargers. Steelers tied last week. Now, anytime Roethlisberger doesn't play, they got no shot. They haven't won a game without Roethlisberger, it feels like, in my life. Chargers have been very disappointing, though. I mean, they lost last week to Minnesota. They had to win in Philly, but they lost. They got smoked in the game against the Ravens. I like the Chargers. I don't think the Steelers have enough offense here, though. I think the Steelers' defense is pretty good. They don't have enough points to keep up with the Chargers in this. So I'll go Chargers by 5.5 over Pittsburgh.
Now, I didn't hear. Is Ben is back, yeah? He's back for this game?
He's expected to be back, yes.
Okay. I'll be honest, Mike, I'm real disappointed in San Diego, in the Chargers, because Herbert, to me, this was the year, the coming out party, new head coach, innovative, offensive minded, all these things. And now here we are they're sitting around 500. They've got to make a play, but I think this is the game. This is the game that you basically say we are part of the conversation and we're still in it. You lose this game to the Steelers at home, Mike, and you're in trouble. They've got to win this game. I'll put them at about the same. I would go 4.5. Chargers 4.5.
Chargers are currently favored at 5.5 at DraftKings, 6.5 at FanDuel.
Close. All right, your last one is Giants-Bucks on Monday night. I got to imagine Tampa Bay's at home coming off of a loss, 2 losses, I think now. I got to go Tampa Bay double digits. The Giants, though, came off a win, too. They're coming off a bye. That makes it a little bit more. I'll go Tampa Bay 11.
Giants look good, right, before their bye. I mean, it's as much as I look at the Giants
the Saints,
and I say they're not that good, I think they might cover this game. Now, I do think it's double digits, but I think they might cover because I just think Tampa Bay doesn't look right now. They don't look quite right offensively.
They look bored.
Right? They do look bored. That's a very good word to use. I'll go Tampa Bay 10.
Ooh,
The Bucks are currently favored by 11 at DraftKings, 10.5 at FanDuel.
all right. So right around the number there. You going Giants? You picking those Giants?
I think I'll take the points. I don't know they win that. I don't think they win that game, but I think they somehow cover that spread.
All right, there you go. We got all the games. First look at the schedule. Some good ones today. I'll give you my 5 favorite games at the end of the show. And Todd Rank is back for another edition of First Look at the NFL schedule. There we go. That was quick and easy.
Are we working next Thursday or are we taking Thanksgiving
We are not.
off?
We
That's
are
right.
on. We will be on, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday. You pick.
Nice. Maybe I'll come in on that Wednesday.
We'll be at 99 Bottles Wednesday.
Beautiful. All right, let's jump on it.
All right. Good to see
All right,
you.
buddy. Have a good one, guys.
There he is. Todd Rank is back for another edition. He'll be back next week. We'll go through the schedule again. Brought to you by Matt Blatt Nissan, the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan, now open Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to the Home Depot. Online, mattblattnissan.com. All right, Rob Maaddi's here. We'll talk some NFL with him on the other side as the Eagles take on the Saints. Some big news coming out of New Orleans. We got the details. You don't want to miss it for this Eagles-Saints game coming up next. 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app.
50 seconds.
All right, pumping out the Eagles and Saints, I should say, for Sunday. And you can hear that game, of course, live on 97.3 ESPN. The coverage starts at noon. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press set to join me now. Some news in New Orleans, which has made this game a little more interesting, I guess you could say, as their injury report is riddled with some big names. And we'll talk to Rob about how that could impact the game right now here on the Sports Bash. What's going on, Rob? All is, man, things keep falling their way a little bit as Alvin Kamara was downgraded to DNP at practice today. He was not the only one, but probably the biggest one. If Kamara is unable to go, that would really change some thoughts on this game. I do not think either guy practiced today. I think they were both out today. Okay, yeah, by the way, DNPs for Armstead and Ramchick, the two tackles there, they both did not practice today. Neither did Taysom Hill and Ty Montgomery and Malcolm Roach and Kamara. They were all DNPs, did not practice today for the Saints. So a lot of injury issues all of a sudden for them. And, you know, obviously one of the factors is that this Eagles team has not won a game at home, Rob, and you wonder at what point does that kind of end? And, you know, if they can't win the home game here, you start to say, all right, maybe this team is just not, you know, they can't beat some of these teams. But how is playing at home a factor in this game this week? Because they haven't been able to win at home. Yeah. It's funny you say that because, you know, I have been saying this for a long time, like, you know, 3-4 weeks ago. And it's kind of split. And part of the reason it's split, Rob, is because the whole thing is, I don't know that people want to make the playoffs. Like, that's the part. Like, you say playoffs, and people will say, playoffs? Like, are you kidding me? Like, they're 4-6. They haven't looked good at times. Their defense has been terrible. So you have this contingent who just doesn't believe in them because why? Well, one side of the ball, defense has been so bad. Well, then you have another part of the fan base that doesn't want to make the playoffs. It's the whole Sixers thing. Well, we want draft picks. That's the mentality of fans nowadays is, well, if you're not good enough to win a championship, I just want to, better draft choices. So that has kind of seeped into the conversation as well. Well, I thought he took big strides in the game last week, no question about it. I thought he looked much more poised and polished as a passer just in that one game. Now, can he continue to do that? But there was a lot of good things to like in that. And, you asked Nick Sirianni about, for people who don't believe him, and he said just watch the last 3 games. And we talked a little bit on Tuesday about, when do the Eagles make their decision? What do they need to see moving forward? Do they want to see, as he's still, these 8 games where they say, you know what? We want to give you 2 full years. We want to give you another count because there's not a guy in the draft. We had John Clayton on earlier. I asked him about Russell Wilson, and he said they are not trading him. He said it's the biggest made-up story that he has covered in the NFL that Russell Wilson wants out. So if people are holding on to that possibility, maybe that's not something that's there, and I don't know that they make a trade. And if this draft doesn't have a guy, which I personally don't think it is, maybe you give Hurts another full year. Look at that. We got more Russell Wilson sources here than they do in Seattle. Mm-mm. Yeah. Right. Now, I'm at the point where you have the 3 picks, and I would much rather them, knowing this quarterback class, now it's not like it's definitive yet. You've got a couple games left. You got all the combine stuff, but there's not a guy that I'm saying, man, I really want to get my hands on that guy. I am loading up on my defense and giving this kid another shot. He has shown enough growth. It's not if he was the same guy every week and he's making the same mistakes and the same, things kept happening, That's not what's happening here, Rob. He's grown. The throw he made to Goddard last week, I mean, that to me was the best throw. And I think it's been highlighted, but I brought it up on Monday. I said that play he made in that game, the throw to Goddard, the throw to Watkins, he made a couple throws that I don't know that he would have made earlier in the season. And that shows me he's growing as a player and can continue to grow. And that's what I'm excited about by watching him over these next couple games. Yeah. Oh, hey, I agree. It's one of the big things I think is emerging from this season so far is that maybe this organization is taking steps in the right direction quicker than maybe we thought, because at the beginning of the season, there were a lot of people who said 4 wins, where's the talent, gloom and doom, and it feels like, hey, there are some pieces on this team. We're finding them out because we're getting a chance to see them play, and they're stepping up. One story I think is interesting. I want to get your opinion on it, Rob, Maaddi. The Miles Sanders situation. How are we going to see that play out on Sunday? Does Sirianni go back to Sanders and say, look, these two guys have been running well. I got a big play guy. I got to get him more touches because my line's proven that that's the right thing to do? Or does he go with a split, keep Howard and Scott in the mix? I just hope that Sirianni goes in with the growth of the coach, and part of that growth of the coach, Rob, is that, hey, I've got the better unit. My line's better than your line, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to prove it. Don't let them dictate. Good teams don't let the other team dictate. The Eagles' strength has been running. I hope Sirianni says, I'm not going to let your strength dictate what I'm going to do. Yeah. That's the big difference in this. Remember, he busted one against this team last year. Jalen ran for over 100 against this team last year, and they won on the road at New Orleans in Jalen Hurts' first NFL start. So we'll see if they can make it 2 straight against the Saints. And if they do, Rob, that'll be 5 wins for this Eagles team, and we might have to really start taking them more serious when we talk again on Tuesday. Russell Wilson, did you say, is your guest on Faith on the Field this week? That's Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, right here on 97.3 ESPN. If you miss it Saturday at 9, Sunday 6:30, Faith on the Field. Rob Maaddi's your host. Rob, thanks so much, man. And Rob is brought to you by Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City. I'm Mike Gill. Rob will be back on Tuesday. Love talking Eagles and NFL with him. He covers the league for the Associated Press. He covered the Eagles for over 20 years. He now covers the league nationally with a focus on the Eagles for the Associated Press. When we come back, I'll give you my 5 favorite games of the weekend. We'll wrap up the show. Sports Bash Live. I want to thank everybody here at Chickies and Pete's. They were very hospitable today, I should say. Great crowd on hand here. You got Flyers tonight at 7, football tonight, and Sixers at 9. Right now, Temple and Clemson is the game that we're watching here at Chickies and Pete's. Some local flavor in there as well. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash. We'll close out the Thursday show next. All right, wrapping up the show. Here's my 5 games of the week, by the way. Not a good schedule this week. Dallas, Kansas City, Colts, Bills, Washington football team, Carolina, Arizona, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Chargers. They're my 5 favorite games of the weekend. It's not a good schedule this weekend. I told you earlier, if you want the Eagles to make the playoffs, you're rooting for – where did I write that down? Here's the list. Here we go. You're rooting for New England tonight. You're rooting for the Ravens. You're rooting for the Packers. You're rooting for the Washington football team. You're rooting for Jacksonville, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and Arizona. A lot of games have playoff implications this weekend for the Eagles to make the playoffs. Of course, they need to beat the Saints themselves. I'll tell you if they will. Tomorrow, I'll be live at FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. Come on out tomorrow and put some bets in. Do some futures bets and then post them on PropSwap. Make a little money, man. Bryce Harper, by the way, they're going to announce the MVP maybe in about the next half hour, I think, here. It's coming up pretty soon. He'll win the MVP. Wheeler got robbed yesterday. Josh has game night next. Listen in to see if Bryce Harper is your MVP. I think he will be. I'm Mike Yell. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Thursday, everybody.